But I'd imagine that there is enough bits out there that you can do it. Or, I mean, honestly, it's not often I say this, I'd 3D print over using fucking Finecast, Joe. It's shocking.
One of the things did offer us a 3D printed.
Vulcan? Is it Vulcan that you're baking?
Yeah. Baking, yes.
It's awful.
It's got a weird wonky hat as well.
Finecast is the worst material they've ever made.
It was because what is weird is like I would have rather have spent the money on the more expensive metal models than just have. What they should have done, right, is release Finecast for 6 months. Okay, we've released this because it's cheaper than metal. And I go, but we're going to put up a poll. Do you want more expensive metal to come back? And everyone goes, dear God, yes, please.
Yeah.
This was a science experiment.
I feel like Finecast is one of the things that probably should have been released on fucking April the 1st.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
What's weird is because they released like him. He's got he's got a dragon scaly cape, and he's got a dragon scaly little thing. And
can you not get a second Adress and then have one as Adress and convert one into Vulcan with the spear? Like I feel that's just a better option. In seriousness. I'll buy you a second Adress so you don't have to fuck around with Finecast, Joe. It's such a shit material.
It probably makes sense.
And if you look at the state of that helmet alone, it's so bad. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us on this okay-ish Tuesday. We do a weather update all the time now, Joe.
Yeah?
Because everyone cares about what the weather's doing on the south coast of the UK.
Because England.
That's what I tell myself anyway. Yeah. So welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us. If you did take part in the 10-hour streamathon yesterday, thank you so much for coming and hang out with us.
It was magical. It was a magical time for us all to be alive.
And I got in slightly earlier than normal this morning, so I can do this.
Man, you can see my fat hands.
And look at the lack of.
The problem is I lean on the table, so I need to do it more like this now.
Well, I can go and get the remote and move it as well.
That's all right.
But look at there's no. Have you noticed there's no lagging, Joe? I fixed it.
You did fix it, yeah.
And I can go boop, ready, boop. I moved it a bit. There you go. I'll have to get the.
It doesn't work if you sit at your desk and then move.
Yeah, I moved it all. I need to get the remote. We made that a thing. Okay. Yeah. So we can now see what Joe's working on, and you can see what I'm not working on. Spoilers: we're not actually currently working on Age of Sigmar for reasons. I'm just going to.
Well, I think our perfectly legitimate excuse is that it's Space Marine 2 week, so we're building Space Marines. You know, Space Marine, Space Marine, Space Marine, Space Marine, Space Marine, Space Marine, Space Marine. Who here has played Space Marine 2?
Well, so Jed, I've warned you already, right? This is not what this stream's about.
Oh.
This stream is not about talking about Space Marines and building Space Marines, but we're doing.
Despite the fact that we're talking about Space Marines and building.
But this
Space
is not
Marines.
what it's about. The stream's not about that, right?
No.
The stream is about Age of Sigmar because it's the Liam Joe AoS Show, right?
Yeah.
However, I think the fact that we both grabbed Space Marines to build is poignant and relevant to what our last 24 hours of experience has been.
Yeah.
If you've been watching, keep an eye on social media, had a look outside of your own little room at all over the course of the last 4 days, Space Marine 2 released, right? Space Marine 2 released for early access on Thursday, Friday. It came out to the general public yesterday.
Carl, we haven't binned AoS.
And
all right, we're playing it tonight.
We are playing AoS tonight. Actually, Joe and Brom are playing AoS tonight. Space Marine 2 has been a hell of a release. The accolades it's got on social media is really, really good. The positive feedback from the community has been really, really good. Graphically, it's got to be one of the most impressive games I think I've ever seen. Visually stunning. Really captures the 40k universe. Really captures the 40k universe really, really well. So to make this AoS relevant, and we had a question, I think, or a comment on the stream yesterday, which was akin to this. I can't remember who it was who said it. But to make this relevant, right? Mikey, who was here recently from Hellstorm Wargaming, do you know how he got into Warhammer 40k?
He was forced into a Games Workshop store, and then one of the members of staff badgered him aggressively to buy models.
No.
Oh.
Do you know how he got into Warhammer 40k?
Is it Space Marine 2?
Dawn of War 2.
Dawn of War, yeah.
Dawn of War 1.
Dawn of War 1, because of Blood Ravens.
Blood Ravens.
Yeah.
That's how he got into it. What I've noticed on Twitter over the course of the last 24 hours is a ton, and I mean a lot of people that I've never played Warhammer before in terms of the tabletop game.
Yeah.
Never bought models. People started to ask questions about the models. What books should I read? What books are interesting? What's good narrative?
It scares me when people on Twitter ask questions. Twitter's like a cesspool.
You can look past the cesspool on Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay. So people on Twitter are asking questions about Warhammer 40k, the lore, the narrative, the setting. That's got to be a positive. That means that Space Marine 2 potentially as a game is bringing more people into the Warhammer 40k universe.
About it would have been like midnight last night, maybe towards 1. One of my favourite streamers, Stone Mountain, went and did the same thing we did. Went and did a playthrough.
But just in front of more people.
Just in front of more people, which is bigger. Like a playthrough of Space Marine 2 with 2 other people.
Yeah.
Right? And he says, obviously they did a few bits the other couple of days, and he says, he was like, last night, so would have been during the day for us, he was like, I went and watched about an hour or two's worth of background narrative. He watched the videos on the narrative and the story from the first game, and then went and learnt about the world roughly, so that he had more understanding of playing the game. And he's like, it's really cool. It's really interesting. So what it is like the power of that game has made potentially another fan, because he was like, I really enjoyed this game. I watched about an hour's worth of YouTube. I'm now interested. Kind of thing.
And that's a big YouTube streamer who's saying that. His story will be pretty typical of a lot of people that have decided to pick up and play Space Marine 2.
Yeah.
Already the most successful the most successful Warhammer video game in existence, right? Already. So the question for today, to keep it relevant to a Tuesday, because Tuesday's AoS Day, is do we think AoS deserves the same treatment, or should it get the same treatment? We can frame the question in a multitude of different ways.
I think
Use your words.
fantasy has a bit of an uphill struggle. So I think Sigma has a bit of an uphill struggle that it can get past, it can work through, but the problem is when a fantasy game releases, when it's got big people that are knights fighting orcs and goblins and wizards and stuff, you know, it's kind of like, it's just like another Dungeons and Dragons game, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of, or like a World of Warcraft type thing.
Yeah, and so it has to really set the bar visually to pull people in the first place, because Space Marine 2 is a beautiful game.
Space Marine is stunning.
It's literally murdering computers right now, because
I was nervous.
I've got Xbox Series X, right, and even that was like, oh, rendering. Okay, we're okay, we're good.
God.
You know, so it has to really like show off something special. And one of the great things, because people are going to compare it to Space Marine 2 the whole time if they want to release an AoS game. One of the great draws, and one of the things that's going to keep people playing, is the unlocking system in the operations and multiplayer, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Because over the last 48 hours, I have seen so many fucking screenshots of someone's like, this is my new chapter. I made my homebrew chapter. This is my favourite Space Marine chapter. I get to play it. We spent an hour of gameplay where Josh and Liam didn't have an upgrade from my character because I had to earn enough points so I could unlock a Deathwatch shoulder pad.
You're unusual.
Right? I was like, you don't get 20% safety from ranged attacks. I must have a shoulder pad, you know? And that's...
Meanwhile, I was getting murdered by ranged attacks.
Yeah, once he's being shot to death. And that's one of the things that Space Marine 2 is going to have great for its longevity, is the fact that there are so many chapters. There are so many. And unlocking, because the process they've done it where you have to unlock the colour for the armour, and then you have to unlock the heraldry, and then you have to unlock, I don't know, like a fancy arm or whatever, or a fancy helmet. They can do that because there are so many well-known chapters. I don't think we know... There's not enough Stormcast, because that's what the Spy said. They're going to do a game. It's going to be out Stormcast, isn't it?
Well, so this is what I say. Okay, so when I say deserves a Space Marine 2 treatment, I don't necessarily mean a game that is Space Marine 2, but Age of Sigmar. Because I think I'd be inclined to agree with you. I think that Space Marines in general in the 40k universe have got probably the deepest lore out of any game Games Workshop makes, and I didn't even include Lord of the Rings, right? Yeah. I think it's got the deepest lore, the deepest narrative, the most vast narrative. It's their biggest selling point. It's their literal baby.
Yeah.
It's everybody's first army is typically Space. All right, not everybody. A lot of people's first army is Space Marines. It's the one the kids love, right? They're considered the good guys.
Yeah.
That's debatable. That's a whole other topic. But Space Marines is GW's literal poster boy. We've talked about it a million times before. It has the deepest lore. So I don't think that. So Josh said yesterday on stream, right, that he thinks we could just reskin the game and make an Age of Sigmar version. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And the more I thought about it, I was like, actually, I don't think you could. Because I don't think you'd get the same gunplay.
No.
It just wouldn't exist. I don't think it would work the same way.
You'd almost have to have it. The class-based system would have to be different races.
Yeah.
So the heavy would have to be like a dwarf.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So the heavy would have to be a dwarf. Then the Blade Guard guy would be your Stormcast.
The Bulwark, yeah.
Bulwark, right? Your jumpy assault person could
Maybe
be
like a high elf?
either a high elf or like one of the, what are they called? The chimet, the harpies, the dark elf ones with the wings.
Yeah.
You know, so if we're doing it based on, because you want goodies versus baddies, and then your generic ranged person would be something like a City of Sigmar with like a
Joe, these are beautiful.
with like a flintlock rifle and a sword.
flintlock wood.
Yeah, so there are, and then like obviously your Phobos would be like a dark elf kind of character.
Yeah,
or
so if you order instead of Space Marines
yeah.
in the AOS universe, then maybe you could. But I think partly what you were talking about with the depth and lore and narrative that exists behind Space Marines, I think that they would struggle to match it. So when I talk about giving AOS a Space Marine treatment, I think I mean more like the kind of time, effort, resources that's gone into making Space Marines.
So there was a.
This, by the way, I hate the fact that you've held these from me for so long.
What do you mean? I've had them out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This kit is. I bought this kit when we got that sent. Well, we got that one sent through. We got that one sent through from GW.
Yeah.
And then I bought one myself because I was like, they look really pretty, and it's been sat at home for ages. And I pulled it out. I went and found it yesterday after stream, and this is fucking stunning.
Yeah. So Carl Hodges says Vermintide question mark. So Vermintide works really well as a first-person shooter. It applied better towards like the Skyrim people because it's first-person shooter, but all the combat's like sort of shield. Whereas I think Space Marine works really well because it's not a first-person shooter; it's the third person. So you're more it's more visceral, it's more immersive. You can see those really cool, massively violent finisher moves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The execution.
Yeah. Like the thing that makes Space Marine really, really good. I think personally is everything is monumentally rewarding, and like it's just like dopamine hit all the time. So I was listening. I subscribed to the first month for free on YouTube Plus.
YouTube Premium.
On YouTube Premium.
So Joe, is this the first time you've ever had it?
So I could have the stream on.
It'll change your life, mate.
With my screen off and my phone on the side. But I could have it in a place where it just sounds louder in my car. And like listening to the game, what is the most satisfying gun noise in all gaming history?
A Car 98.
Like I would say like
M1 Grand. Yeah.
The M1 Garand, the ping.
Oh, and Battlefield 1.
Yeah. Pching,
oh my
that
god,
noise,
yes.
Right? It's in Space Marine. The last round that fires out of a bolter has the shell noise as it goes out.
I didn't notice that.
You have to really listen to it. When you're listening to it, you notice it more because you're obviously not watching it. Like, and it's just, and you're constantly always being pressured by the bad guys all the time. So when you like, oh, I've got to go kill that big guy, and you go over and kill it, and it has this really ridiculous overkill finisher move, and then once all the bugs are all dead, you're like, oh my god, I'm so relieved. I feel so good, you know.
But do you not think you could do something similar against hordes of Skaven or demons?
Oh yeah. I think if they're going to do it again, they don't do Skaven.
Okay.
I think they do.
Because they did Skaventide before.
They did Skaventide before.
Was it no good? I've never played it.
Skaventide was massively popular.
Was it?
Massive. It's huge. It's been really, really popular. I think you maybe go orcs.
An AOS game would need to be more like Diablo. Players would need choices of races. Force people to play Stormcast and I would turn up. Yeah, I think you're right there, Mike.
But I think
I have got chat right here, by the way, as well.
They did a game, didn't they, called Storm something?
Something Storm?
Something Dark Side. They did do an AoS Stormcast game, and it did okay. The problem is always going to be about how much money the companies making it think it's worth.
Yeah.
Space Marine 2 was done really, really, really good because people have been crying out for it for years, for literal years.
Yeah.
And the Games Workshop were like, we need this done. We need people. We want to make this game more popular. Obviously, like.
And in terms of like, you're right. Right, the sound kind of. I can't remember. There's a word for it, isn't there? But the sound, the audio that they've done is phenomenal. The visual is visually stunning. Like they've captured the universe so well.
Yeah.
Do you think it's harder to capture an AoS universe because there's less about it out there, or do you think it's easier because it's fantasy? Yeah, but
I think the problem is fantasy too tired now.
Okay.
Right. So I talked about this on the stream yesterday. We're living in a computer gaming time. We're living in the world of the extraction shooter at the moment.
Currently we are, yeah.
Currently we are.
If you're not playing Space Marine 2 right now.
If you're not playing Space Marine 2. So a week ago, before Space Marine came out, the biggest games being played, Fortnite, Call of Duty, you had
Delta Force.
Which
was in beta.
Which is in beta, right?
So it's Call of Duty Black Ops 6, though. Black Ops 6 is in open beta.
Yeah, but people play Call of Duty Warzone.
Yeah.
All the time. People will start. So, like, everyone knows what a human looks like. Everyone knows what modern day guns are like, right? And the thing about fantasy games is everyone knows what a sword looks like. Everyone knows what a shield looks like. Everyone knows what an orc and a human looks like. And then you get a game like Space Marine 2, which turns up and go, hey, you're a 10-foot tall super soldier in a suit of armor that you've never seen before. This is for people outside of the Warhammer world. And you get to fight and tear apart aliens with a chainsaw. And you can blow them apart with massive guns.
The chainsaw's so satisfying, I didn't want to use power sword.
What's one of the best things about Gears of War? The chainsaw bayonet finisher.
Yeah.
Right? So people go, we haven't had Gears of War for a while. And people are like, this is like Gears of War, but it's much more mental.
Joe's so into Space Marine right now, by the way.
I fucking love it. Right?
I don't know if you could tell, chat, but...
Yeah, so I really want a good AoS game. Like, this is not me saying it can't be done, because it can be done. But you need to give people something new that they're not experienced already.
Yeah, but Stormcast, to the majority of the public, is not something they've experienced already. No. Soulless automatons crafted by a god, or not soulless yet, but, you know...
People losing their souls.
Yeah. Crafted by a demigod or a god to go in and fight chaos and so I guess Skaven to some extent is maybe not, maybe rat people, but you know what I mean. Like, you can definitely do things in AoS that hasn't been done, but people who don't know Warhammer wouldn't have seen before. That's definitely a thing you can do.
You could do, so like there's that book that I pointed you towards, Dark Harvest. You could have a game where you're a bunch of people trapped in a city, surrounded by evil trees trying to murder you.
Yep.
At the same, because it's on a river, whilst at the same time, people on flying turtles and sharks.
See, exactly right. See, 100% you can do it.
Yeah, and that's three good factions fighting each other, right? So, but I think it depends on what market you want to appeal to as well. Right? So you can appeal to the Diablo crowd, which is a much more older crowd, kind of thing. Or do you want to appeal to the younger generations where it's just flat murder all the time in third person? Or do you want a Skaventide kind of Skyrim-esque first-person shooter?
It's tough, that, isn't it? Because I feel like, so Space Marine, when I was streaming yesterday, my just popped in for a moment.
Yeah.
Into the office. You guys wouldn't have seen it. And he sort of looked over my shoulder, off camera, and I could see, I looked at him a couple of times, and I could see him going, what is this?
Yeah.
As I was running around.
Is this a game I can play?
At the time I had my Thunderhammer of fun.
Yeah.
And he was like, because he's a video game, he loves video games. So I wanted to get him into Warhammer for ages. But I won't force it. I'm also aware that it's my business. I don't want to force it, right? But
Yeah.
I wanted to get him into Warhammer for ages, and he's just not really been interested. He kind of picked up AoS for a while, interestingly. He was more attracted to the AoS aesthetic, and he started to play it, and it got a bit complicated for him. And he got to a point where it's like, wait, I've got to build, and I've got to paint, and blah, blah. And he was like, no, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So he looked at Space Marine over my shoulder, and he looked absolutely like obsessed by it.
Yeah.
I'm aware that it's not for him. He's 11. It's not strictly for him, right?
Yeah.
But he was absolutely obsessed by it, and I was like, maybe this is a way that I can get him into this hobby finally. But he was originally attracted, when he went into the Games Workshop store, he was originally attracted to the AoS model range. He gravitated more to that side of the shop. If you go into a Games Workshop, you'll notice that 40k is typically on one side and AoS is on the other. And he definitely gravitated every single time more towards AoS models than he did to 40k. And eventually he ended up picking up Blades of Khorne.
Yeah.
Because, Khorne's the best. And so I was like, if only I had an equivalent to this game in the AoS realms that he was originally drawn to, that I could go, here, play this, and then he perhaps develops the love, the passion that goes, I actually want to pick those models up again now.
Well,
and I was a bit sad that AoS, in my opinion, doesn't really have it. And I was like, does it deserve it? Now, I think if we'd have gone 2 years ago, because let's face it, Space Marine 2 has been in development for a long time. If we'd have gone 2 years ago and said, does AoS deserve it compared to 40k, I think it would be relatively easy at that point to probably say no. It doesn't really compare.
What?
Have you not looked at the screen after you just popped your bottle? It now has Fanta all over it. I think we could have easily said at that point, it probably doesn't really, sales figures, number of people playing, probably doesn't really deserve it. I think considering 10th edition, don't worry about it too much, Joe. There's loads of members on there for you to read through, so it's not a massive issue. If you consider the 10th edition and what 10th edition has potentially done to the sales of 40k, and if you consider what 4th edition Age of Sigmar has done to the sales of Age of Sigmar, I think now's the time to go, maybe, actually, perhaps now we do.
I had it upside down, that's why.
Perhaps now we're getting to a point where an AoS video game of the size and scale of Space Marine is something we should consider. And I think I'd be all for it. I think it'd be great. I feel like Easton's asked, right? We need to do this, by the way. We need to do this because I promised him fucking ages ago, years ago, in fact, and I've never done it. Easton asked for us to play Warhammer. Now you've played Space Marine 2 on the main channel. Is there scope to play Warhammer Total War 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I can buy that for Joe as well. I'm pretty sure it's crossplay. We'll have to have a look. But yes, 100%.
Well, no, you just play it on my PC.
Oh, of course, you've got PC now, haven't you?
It's on the Steams.
So yes, absolutely, we can bring Warhammer Total War 3. Wasn't that an odd decision, though? Bring out Warhammer Total War 3 just after we nuke the old world.
It was an odd choice.
Hey, I'm going to get really into this incredible narrative and this amazing world that exists on Warhammer Total War 3. Hey, where can I buy it? You can't anymore.
You can't, it's dead. It was a bold choice on their behalf, and I suppose it was more marketable, potentially, because you're selling generic high fantasy, aren't you?
I think. So yeah,
because AoS is like fantasy plus.
I don't disagree with you there, but I actually am inclined to very much agree with the statement you made earlier. Right? What Space Marine does is it goes, hey, here's the generic shit you think you know about humans and sci-fi.
Yeah.
Here's a 10-foot super soldier and aliens that you're battering to death with a chainsaw.
But I think if they're marketing it to the Total War crowd,
I don't know. I feel like
they're a bit more of a grown-up bunch, aren't they?
Can you imagine if Total War 3 came out at the same time that Age of Sigmar launched and Total War 3 was in the AoS universe?
Yeah, I did think this morning on my drive in, I was like, now would have been a great time to release an Ultramarine model. Like a resculpt. Bring in Kato Sicarius. Like, do a resculpt Kato Sicarius kind of thing.
A new Kato would be good.
Or re-release, it's Space Marine Day. We're announcing the release of all the Finecast Space Marines in plastic. That would have been brilliant. They would have sold loads. Because they're going to be selling a lot of Space Marine models now.
They are, yeah. Now's the time to get Space Marines. To me, I don't know. I did tell Mr. Nick Baton on Twitter today that I might paint one Ultramarine.
Yeah?
Just one.
Just the one, actually.
Yeah.
This Vulcan model is not good.
No, well, I don't know why you're building it, mate.
It's not stood the test of time, is it?
Honestly, I'd have considered kit bashing something or getting something printed that's
I
more
think
to scale.
I think I will probably kit bash him. He's so diddy, isn't he?
He's very
I
diddy,
thought,
isn't
I
he?
thought I'm gonna have to put him on a massive base.
He doesn't match the super soldier status we've just been talking about.
No.
Anyway, Joe, how many gifted memberships have we got?
0.
Oh.
But we have got 4 super chats.
Should we talk about them then?
Chats that can't be stopped. So thank you, Alec Man says, I want an AoS. I want AoS to have its own Space Marine 2 because a big crossover hit would get more people into AoS, and I ultimately want AoS to get the love it deserves. So, like I said earlier, I want it to, right?
AoS absolutely deserves the love.
Do you know
by
why
the way.
people are complaining about Space Marine 2 not being long enough? Yeah, and I get that. 100% I get that. I will defend it till my very dying day because I fucking love that game so much. I've not had... so my missus said to me this morning, she was like, since we've been together, she's like, when we got together, like, before we got together, you'd spend an entire day gaming, playing Call of Duty, right? Because this was COVID. This is COVID Warzone, prime Call of Duty time. It's magical. People make TikToks and videos about how glorious a time that was, right? And so the truth is, you've never spent an entire day gaming, right? And she was in the house yesterday, and I spent 12 hours playing Space Marine 2.
I spent 10 in a bit.
I had to get the stream finished. I went to see if she was still awake. She'd gone to sleep. So I was like, Space Marine 2. And that's what I did.
Do you know how often I spend more than... So we used to, for VAG, we used to do 3 hours of Call of Duty roughly.
Yeah.
And I'd be done then, and I literally wouldn't play it again until we next streamed.
Yeah, you play games nowadays, well, especially like Call of Duty, which is my main one. I finished playing Call of Duty, and sometimes I feel like I wasted 3 hours of my life. I feel miserable. I'm stressed. I'm angry because it's just been awful, right?
That's why I haven't played it for ages.
Because it's just a cesspool of sweaty dweebs. Right? It makes me so angry. I don't touch Call of Duty anymore because I don't want that level of stress and anger in my life. All right? I spent 12 hours playing Space Marine 2 yesterday. I'll do it all again today.
Well, so
on the same levels, I go for it all. I'd go on a harder level. I'd try and level up one of my other characters as much as I can at a time.
If Tuesday wasn't designated AoS Day, I would have been sorely tempted to come in for the evening for a game, but in the daytime, Liam and Joe show from home and do more Space Marine 2.
Yeah.
I literally was... I was even tempted to do it today. The only reason why I didn't do it today is because it's an AoS Day. Yeah. We need to make content for the AoS crowd.
So people have said the campaign is quite short.
It is.
And the side missions, there's only 4, and there's only 3 maps in the multiplayer.
Six side missions.
6 side missions.
Yeah.
But there's only... but there is already a roadmap of stuff to come. And this game has made mad money, right? Insane levels of money. The advertising for it's been crazy. The coverage of streamers putting it out is insane, right?
Power Sword or Power Fist, Joe?
I gave him a Power Fist, but the Power Sword looks cooler.
It does look cool, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That is the main reason.
And so anyway, yeah. But, right, the reason it's like that is because they didn't give it that much money to make the game. Did you know?
Yes.
The first Space Marine game, in the eyes of the gaming community, and I have spoken to people that work in the gaming world, Space Marine 1 was a massive flop.
Oh, really?
Financially, it made no money. We all remember it because we played it as kids and it had loads and loads of fun. But it just didn't sell very well. So that's why another one just didn't come out very quickly, because they were like, here's a flop, no one cares. But much like your Nightmare Before Christmases, your Starship Troopers, both massive flops, right? You can't walk into a shop nowadays without seeing something Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, because there's just something out there, right? Starship Troopers, there's games that rip it off all the time. So Space Marine 1 was a massive flop. They didn't want to give it as money. So they didn't give it a massive amount. They gave it some money because of the hype, because Games Workshop's a bigger company now. So the thing is, though, we need to justify giving an AoS game the same money that Space Marine got.
Oh, Power Fist or Power Sword, chat? I don't know.
Yeah.
Carry on. I think maybe that's part of the reason for why AoS might not see this level of game for a while.
Yeah, because we've seen some historically. Warhammer games in general are given not much money and to very small studios, and they come out and they're just a bit shit.
Yeah.
And they're just a bit boring. This is the first time in a long time they've actually given it to a proper studio.
And we've seen,
Yeah.
you know, again, we've seen relatively big channels because, you know, I've covered it and Mikey's covered it and some other people have covered it. Let's be honest, in the grand scheme of things, we're small channels in YouTube, in the YouTube world. We might be reasonably sized in the Warhammer world.
Sword, fist.
Sword, fist. So the sword is 6 attacks hitting on 2, strength 5 -2/2, and the fist is 5 attacks hitting on 2, strength 8 -2/2. But you can also best day ever to go to 9 attacks with dev wounds. Ooh, that makes the sword really tasty. Also, plasma pistol, neo volkite pistol, or heavy bolt pistol.
Plasma.
See, I was going to go heavy bolt pistol, just because that's what I was using yesterday.
Right. So, do you think Space Marine 2 is going to really kind of invest in the rule of cool? Because people were like, jump guys with thunderhammers are cool as shit.
Yeah.
You know? I think, so, but they need a studio that's going to basically put real numbers. So the people that made Diablo, I don't get me wrong, me and Josh played the shit out of the last Diablo game that came out. We'd have entire nights just dedicated to us just running around punching stuff. Blah, blah, blah. But I think and I really enjoyed it, but I got bored because I get really bored with long games. Whereas Liam likes long games. It depends on who you want to kind of push it out to. I'd want a third-person shooter where I can just go and beat the crap out of stuff. I started playing Hellblade 2 the other day. That's a great game. It's just a really angry woman with a sword murdering people. Beautiful game as well. So, I think AoS would suit third person better.
I think you'd need a different game style to hordes of Tyranids. Like literally, because you see, if you watch any of yesterday, there were times where we're absolutely utterly swarmed. Like I feel like you could do a little band of merry lunatics off on a little adventure.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that made Space Marine so enjoyable for me yesterday was the fact that the main campaign I can play with. Like I got to the point where we started the campaign. I started the campaign because like I'm done now. I've had enough. I've had enough playing these 6 missions. We've done the first 6. We've then done the first 2 on a hard level. I'm done. So I was like, well, I've said we'll stream till 10, so let's try the campaign in case that keeps me gripped.
Yeah.
I could have continued with you and Josh playing the campaign till we finished the campaign, because I'm playing with the pair of you. If I was doing that single player, I reckon I would have a less of an interesting time. So I feel like campaigns that allow you to play as more than just yourself, so you can invite friends. You take that and you make like, if you think about that book that you recommended to me, I think it's that one, where you've got a little band of merry lunatics off to find Lady Oleander. I think that's the one you meet. I can't remember.
So you have like, you have like different races, different classes.
Yeah, but you essentially create like a little war band. It's almost more Warcry-ish than it is.
Yeah, maybe
Space
you do
Marine
chaos.
2-ish.
Maybe you're the baddies. You play as the baddies.
Maybe like a Warcry based game would be better than just a generic giant AoS game.
You start off as a general human, and then you have to work your way up to Demon Prince.
Oh, I'd like that.
Yeah,
I'd be into that. But then, again, are we then at that point? Are we just? This is the problem, isn't it? So I feel like Space Marine gets away with this kind of generic appeal.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like when we start digging into what we would like to see from an AoS game, we come away from generic appeal and we go more into we know the hobby, so we'd really like to see a game that does this.
Yeah.
And then that makes it perhaps
if you look at, there was that, what was that game ages ago where you're like,
Tetris.
A really brooding teenager guy with like a big demonic arm.
Oh, Dark Souls?
Is it Dark Souls?
Was that Dark Souls? No.
And you just like run, it's like almost like a Spider-Man, like a free run.
Yeah. Oh, no. Devil May? No?
Well, Devil May Cry was a banger game, but not that one.
I can't remember what it was. I don't know what it's called. I know what you're talking about.
What game was it? And there was another one called Prey. where
Really boring though. Just an alt the whole time.
yeah. Prey was a great game. There was another one where you were a guy. It was like you're like the guy from
Darkness, Soul Reaver,
The Darkness was a fucking
Prototype,
great.
Infamous.
Prototype. And there's another one called The Darkness, where you're basically a bad person. You're a good person, but you're a bad person. And your abilities kind of get better. You could kind of do something similar like that. You start off as a general human, and you basically grow it. Because people understand humans and demonic stuff. So you're just a person that becomes more and more and more and more possessed as you go along. Right? Because there's loads of games out there that exist that give you a morality system.
I've got wild decision paralysis right now.
Yeah?
They all look cool.
Build one of the other things then.
They all look cool, Joe.
All right. So like, I really struggle with morality systems because I'm always a nice person because I don't want to be bad, right? But if you play a game like I'm a demon, I'm going to go and murder people in their sleep, and you're like, cool, let's go do it. You know? Oh, there's a village phaeton. I'm going to set fire to it.
Did you ever play? I mean, you must have played Skyrim.
Yeah.
How much Skyrim did you play?
I learnt a couple of the shouty things.
Okay, so you didn't play very far.
I found that I killed some dragons, and then I discovered that and then I became like a half werewolf person.
Right. Okay. So you got far. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So there was two main story arcs, or there was two story arcs. I say main stories. Two story arcs you could go down. There was actually multiple, but one allowed you to go down the arc of becoming a werewolf.
Yeah.
And one allowed you to go down the arc of essentially becoming a vampire.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, take from the point you become said werewolf or vampire, and then go. It's AoS now. You're a Soulblight Gravelord, or you're a who's vampires? Who's werewolves? Is it also Soulblight?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe the game doesn't follow Stormcast.
You pick a house.
Maybe we're looking at it wrong. Maybe we're looking at it wrong from going, you are Order, and you have to be an Order-based character.
Yeah.
Maybe we go, you're a Soulblight Gravelord, and you're a vampire or you're a werewolf.
Yeah.
You go the Lucavi or the Radagar route, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's like take that kind of gameplay from Skyrim and apply it to a video game, and perhaps that. And so by being a vampire, you're kind of inherently a bad guy. But I feel like it's possible.
There are a couple of vampire games out there.
I feel like it's possible for games to go, you're a bad guy because you're a vampire, you want to murder humans, but actually to tell a story that kind of gets you sympathising with the vampire a bit or whatever. Like, that's possible.
Yeah.
That could be super cool. And if you're a vampire, you can almost at that point have like Space Marine levels of power.
Yeah.
You're a fucking vampire.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like that's the thing that they could do. And vampires and werewolves kind of appeal to the wider market, I guess.
Yeah. I like it. I'm a big fan.
I want the front tabard, but I kind of want the power sword.
The power sword?
But if you have the power sword, you should really have the scabbard for it, because you need a place to put it.
Yeah.
And I like the bolt pistol, because I think it looks cooler, but a plasma pistol is also a plasma pistol. Joe.
Yeah, look at my bum for a minute.
And a plasma pistol is... Oh, it's a plasma pistol.
I like the plasma pistol. You'd never overcharge it, but it looks cool.
Why wouldn't you? It only takes 3 damage. You'd be fine.
Yeah, I suppose the damage goes on the unit now as well, doesn't it? Or does it go on him specifically?
It goes on the character, isn't it? Not the unit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So, next question. Alekman, look at Realms of Ruin. It rendered Gur lovingly. Gur. I never played it, actually. It looks nice. Josh said he was playing it. He said he never completed it, but he said it was a good game. Is Realms of Ruin a third person, or is it like a tight? Because they always tend to go into the kind of like I go you go kind of mechanic sometimes, like in XCOM, where I move a guy, you move a guy, I move a guy, or I move all my people, and then all the baddies move, and then I move all my people, and then all the baddies move. Where those games are cool. I really enjoyed the first XCOM, but I got bored. My brain was not stimulated enough. That's my problem. I'm a child, and my brain needs stimulating all the time. Otherwise, I get bored and wander off. He's busy. Sam Deacon, my daughter was say with me when I started it up. I'm assuming Sammy means sat with me. She was like, "Oh my god, I'm going to have nightmares. Can I have a go?" Good. Well, you're not likely to have the nightmares if you spend the entire time murdering all the baddies. You know, you're not scared of them once you've killed the Xenos.
Yeah.
He agrees, I guess. Thank you, Resident Rum Drinker. An AoS video game would be a massive help in selling the world and narrative that a lot of people struggle with compared to the 40K.
I really agree with that. I really strongly agree with that as well. Like I think for some of us who are in the hobby already, it's a lot easier to visualise what Space Marine could and should look like. I think because we've been in the hobby for so long, and because Space Marine lore is so deep and rich, I think that obviously being able to then showcase that world to the wider world is a skill in itself, and they've done a good job. I think that AoS sits slightly differently. I think for a lot of us, I struggled to some extent to this day. I still slightly struggle with AoS lore comparatively, despite the fact I prefer fantasy over sci-fi, because it's a bit wild. The realm system's a bit wild, right? I think showcasing the realm system helps even Warhammer players. I would strongly agree with that. Yeah. But equally, I think for new people coming in, AoS lore, at the moment at least, still isn't perhaps deep enough to really be able to grip people from a narrative perspective. AoS, I think at the moment, skates by, that's perhaps an unfair phrase, but AoS definitely gets by its model range being so beautiful. And then the rules now, because 4th edition also complement the model range, they've got 2 out of sort of 3 done there. If AoS had the narrative that 40k had, maybe they'd be 3 out of 3. Doesn't, and it struggles a little bit there. I think that's its weak point. If you could bring out a video game that immerses people in that universe and shows them what it looks like, I think that can only be a positive.
Yeah.
I think it can only be a positive. But, I mean, Joe's hit the nail on the head already. I think you're going to struggle to get a big studio involved at the moment, simply because I don't think they look at it as a thing that's going to sell a lot, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Because we'd buy it, obviously we would, but you've got to look at Space Marine. If you assume that the only people buying Space Marine 2 are people that like Warhammer, I'd imagine that game would be considered a flop. Again. What we're looking at is people playing Space Marine 2.
Yeah.
What we're looking at is people playing Space Marine 2 who have never played a Space Marine game before or looked at Warhammer before.
Yeah.
That's what makes the game a success. Right?
Oh,
anyway, chat.
I put the wrong thing on.
I don't know what I've done specifically to really piss you all off, but we are 45 minutes into the stream, Joe. I think we've got 4 gifted memberships.
Is it because they all want to hate Space Marine?
So we're halfway into the stream,
yeah,
and we've got 4 gifteds.
It's because the title is not controversial.
Maybe the Liam and Joe show's dying already.
No, it's because we haven't done a controversial title.
You reckon? I don't think that
You
gets
should
people
have
gifted. I don't think people gifted. When we did the stream about the roadmap, and we said, "What the fuck is this?" We still didn't make as much gifted or money as we normally do, because people that turn up for controversial titles, Joe, don't necessarily want to put their hands in their pocket.
Yeah. Oh, does that go in there?
I think I'm going to go plasma pistol, Joe.
Yeah. Like I saw someone's title the other day, the things that really frustrate me about Space Marine 2. That was the title. And I was like,
I'm going to go plasma pistol.
Clickbait,
He's a captain. I feel like he deserves a plasma pistol.
Yeah.
We've decided, chat. We've decided.
Thank you, Evan Tamanello, for 1 gifted membership.
What a legend.
Thank you. Thank you, Airlock Man, again. He says, what about a CRPG? Road Trader was great. AoS could get a game just like it. Maybe focus on one realm, and it'd be amazing.
What's a CRPG? What's that
look
stand
at Baldur's Gate. It's basically Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh.
So here's the problem, right? Someone said that the problem is they keep releasing these kind of turn-based RPG games.
Right.
And they always do terribly.
Baldur's Gate didn't do terribly, did it? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but Baldur's Gate didn't do terribly because Baldur's Gate 3 is a massive established video game series.
I don't know if it did well because I didn't play it because
It was
I had
like
no
Game of the
interest.
Year.
I had no interest.
It's like the best-selling game.
Still
of
got no
all
interest, Joe.
time.
You can say all these names to me. I don't care.
I think the only game that beat it was Harry Potter because it's just a bigger franchise.
That was a game I was interested in playing.
That was a great game, Harry Potter. I really enjoyed it.
It was on Steam sale recently for like
Yeah.
80% off or something.
My favourite character was the herbology teacher. So,
Okay.
what was I going? Yeah, so they keep doing these things. I think they need to change the pace. You know, they keep.
Computer RPG, thanks, dude.
That's what the thing is. Though, Space Marine is the first proper third-person shooter or third-person game that we've had from Games Workshop since Space Marine 1. The only game that I really fondly, apart from Dawn of War 1, Dark Crusade,
maybe 2 a bit.
yeah, the only games I really remember fondly about Warhammer is Space Marine and Fire Warrior.
I never played Fire Warrior.
Fire Warrior is a great game.
Was it?
Didn't age well, but
Why?
great game at the time. It's just because it was, when you look at it, it's like, wow, these these levels are really empty.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I got to kill Space Marines. I'm so terrified of this cultist. And you walk into a room, there's like one Space Marine and like 2 cultists, kind of thing. Dark Tide was really, really good. I enjoyed Dark Tide, but it got boring because there was no campaign, there was no story. There's nothing you're working towards apart from just running around random parts of a hive.
Dark Tide was the quite recent one, right?
Yeah.
So I downloaded that one because I was quite excited by it, and I ended up not playing it.
It's a fun game. Me and Josh and Paul put a good couple hours into it. I said couple, we put quite a lot of hours into it.
Again,
but it just became a case of, it's weird, right? Between Dark Tide and Space Marine, because I was like, I just became the same as like, get a new gun, go around with that gun until you get a better version of that gun, and you go around killing people until you get a better version of that gun, you know, and you stack up your tree. Like it was fun, it was a bit rewarding, but you never felt like you were working towards anything apart from just making your character better. Whereas Space Marine 2 was like, there is a story, you're going somewhere to do a thing.
Maybe, but you've also said that you'd quite happily do the same missions over.
I know, it's weird. There's something about Space Marine that's just so.
So I think, I mean,
maybe it's just because you are a Space Marine.
Which would lead me to think that the question we've asked, does AoS deserve the Space Marine 2 treatment, is arguably no.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to say no. For reference, I want to say yes. I want to say give AoS the same love that Space Marine 2 has had, and make something for AoS that is this equivalent to Space Marine 2, and bring lots of people into AoS. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
That's what passionate heart Liam wants to say.
Yeah.
Head Liam says, I don't actually think it's worth the investment.
No.
No, I don't think you're going to make anywhere near the amount of money required to get a big studio with a decent budget building this game.
Yeah.
I don't think you are.
Because a lot of people know what. So, because growing up, a lot of people that aren't in the Warhammer universe still know what Warhammer is. They still know one of their friends did it, or one of their family did it. You know. Or like someone in school did it, or there was like a Warhammer club, or they've seen the Warhammer shop.
Oh.
What?
The camera moved.
Oh.
Did that one
I
move?
feel like I'm on CCTV.
That one stayed where it was.
Oh.
Why did your one move?
I don't know.
Oh.
Don't know.
Nobody tells me nothing.
What was that, Tim?
What did I? Oh, growing up, people knew what Space Marine was.
Yeah, so, and Games Workshop's most marketable, iconic thing is the Space Marine,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, facts.
It's facts, right? And the Primaris Marine is just a better looking version of a Space Marine.
Yeah. I want more beaky helmets.
Beaky helmets are cool, right? Beaky helmets are cool.
I like your Raven Guard are Primaris Marines with beaky helmets. I love that.
Yeah, by the way, I've decided before we're going to stream, I'm going to be doing more Raven Guard stuff. Because I've started playing the jump. I was using the Jump Marine last night, right? And I was like, oh, Jump Marines are so cool. But I want them in black. And I got loads of Space Marine stuff knocking around, built that I could just spray it back. So the most marketable thing is, but the Primaris Marine aesthetically with the Primaris helmet is perfect.
Nowadays, if you just spray your Marine back and
Yeah.
paint it generic black, but magnetise your shoulder pads,
Yeah.
sometimes maybe Death Company, sometimes maybe Raven Guard.
Nah. That's a lot of effort.
More effort than painting two Marines.
I've seen you handling this. This is the battle with all their magnets.
It's shoulder pads, that'll be fine.
Nah.
I'm not handling your Space Marines.
It's just a really nice thing, and listening to the sound of bolt guns and chains, like in Age of Sigmar, their most marketable thing is the Stormcast. That's something they had the big statue of. That's their poster boy on all the box sets and things. But a Stormcast has got a bow.
Do you think that was a mistake, though? Do you think making Stormcast a fantasy Space Marine was a mistake? Because if you think about actual fantasy before AoS, you didn't have a fantasy Space Marine. It didn't exist. There wasn't a faction that did that. So do you think launching Age of Sigmar and making fantasy Space Marines was a mistake? Which, by the way, I love Stormcast. I think the model range is cool as shit. For reference.
It wasn't. So the Stormcast is, like we said earlier, it's different to everyone. So when you look at a fantasy game, they go, here's my human, here's my dwarf, here's my elf. And people go, oh, it's just another fantasy game. But when you go, here's my 8-foot tall gold motherfucker.
Yeah, but it's
With
just
its
a
big fucking
Space Marine.
hammer, right? But if you don't know what a Space Marine is,
But it's just a slightly... But this is my point. It's just a slightly shitter Space Marine.
I think we're comparing it to the wrong thing.
Okay.
I think we need to compare Stormcast to Custodes. That's what they're most, in my mind, that's what they're closer to.
You reckon?
Yeah. Brain dead, really boring, gold-covered people. Custodes aren't brain dead, but they're very, very obnoxious and rude, aren't they? They're really arrogant.
I mean, arguably rightly so.
Oh yeah, there's a reason why, because they are the best and they know they're the best. Also Stormcast, you can copyright that because no one else has a Stormcast.
No, again, I think that I've said this before. AoS and 40k both need to remain separate products and different products. And I think the introduction of Stormcast, especially as the kind of the main characters in the game, the poster boys for AoS, I think was a mistake. Only because it's Space Marines in fantasy.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but you've already got Space Marines, granted not in fantasy, but I feel like that was a bad call overall to make them a poster boy. You're like, hey, here's the same thing, but slightly different. Same, but different. It was a mistake overall, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Space Marine players, for example, or Custodian players, who don't want to play Stormcast because they've already got that thing in their main sci-fi game, so they don't want it in their fantasy game as well. They want to play with their elves and goblins and giants and things.
Goblin.
Yeah, like Eddie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like Stormcast is the main characters, and therefore the poster boys is a mistake. That's why I think if they were to do an AoS game, I would honestly say, don't focus it on Stormcast. Focus it on something else.
Chaos. Start as Chaos Human, work your way up to Demon Prince.
Like I said, I'd be vampire, werewolf type thing is what I would do, something like that.
Or you play as a... The thing I always I'll do the vampire one because necromancers in games are always a bit meh. I really didn't like the necromancer in Diablo because it had no real close combat attacks. It was just range, golems, zombies, skeletons. Whereas you want a badass vampire going around killing stuff. They have the Bloodborne games; they were good. I enjoyed them.
I played Bloodborne once, I think.
Yeah. Because
vampires are cool.
Thank you, White55, for a gift of membership.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you, Meat Squadron, for a membership. Thank you, Meat Squadron, for a super set. Everyone give members. Joe needs food. I do.
Joe does need food.
Yeah.
We're not eating well today. Maybe we've got 5 gifted memberships an hour in.
I know.
I don't know what we've done to upset them all.
They're just giving the super chats instead.
Well, they're not, though, are they?
Yeah, I've got some more to read. Thank you, Big Bag Peter Gaming, for a gift of membership.
Thank you, Pete.
I'm not ungrateful.
He is.
I can be. Thank you, Ash Thompson, what you're both building. I am currently building Agrax Agatone.
If you could call him that after the fucking work that Finecast has done to make him lose his identity.
Well, no, that was Vulcan. I gave up. He's over there now.
He gave up.
He's my future conversion.
He's soon to be snapped off base and binned whilst Joe builds something else.
Yeah, and I use parts of him on another model. Yeah, so I'm now building old Adress Agatone.
Adress Earthshade.
Yeah. And then I'm going to think about how to make a fun Raven Guard army.
Whilst making some salamanders. Yeah, it's pet and black, mate. It'd be fine.
Because jump packs are cool, as we know.
I am building the Company of Heroes box because I bought it a long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away?
When it came out, because there's a number of times where Games Workshop send us stuff through to preview, and we're very lucky and we're very grateful. Although they didn't send us, you'll notice we're not talking about Skaven models because they didn't send us any of those. I think I might have upset them.
Or the book.
Or the book, yeah.
So that's why we're not talking about Skaven, by the way, for people here for Skaven. We can't talk about it because we haven't got it.
They didn't send it to us.
Yeah.
So
I think it's because you keep calling them cunts.
Well, stop me in cunts then, Joe. It's not quite simple, isn't it? I bought, quite often when stuff turns up from Games Workshop, I look at it as it turns up and I look at the box art and I think, oh my God, that is fucking gorgeous. And then I sob slightly as I hand it over to Joe. And I hand it over to Joe because historically, before we had the studio, before I had a Joe, I got to keep it all for myself and it was amazing. But you all know how fast I am at building and painting anything. Historically, it's improving at the moment, but I don't know how long I'm going to be able to ride that wave for before I get burnt out because of the way my brain works. Anyway, I would look at the box art, go, that's beautiful. I wouldn't open the plastic because I would then not want to hand it over. And then I would sob gently as I handed it over to Joe because he would get it done ready for the channel. And so often when these boxes come up, what I end up doing is I end up buying a second version on pre-order day, ! Element, and I end up keeping them on my shelf at home because I'll get around to that one part time because it's beautiful. Yeah. This is one of those occasions. Company of Heroes, beautiful box. Very, very much me in terms of Space Marines. They're Space Marines with flavour. There's loads of tabards and robes and icons and shit. Really, really like it. So I bought the box. Never had a reason or excuse to build them and paint them because, as I didn't really.
This guy deserves a massive rock to stand on, or like Pride Rock.
Doesn't he have one on his base?
I know, but it's small, isn't it?
So
he hasn't got one. It's just flat. It's a little disc. It's boring.
So I decided to pull the box out last night after playing Space Marine all day and build me some Space Marines because why not?
Because Space Marines. But yeah, I'd like to see an AoS game going forward, but I think you'd have to get a really good writer to make a really good story. It has to. As we discovered yesterday, right? The most important thing about a Warhammer game, to me, in my opinion, is cooperative play. Having a single-player game that you can do as a trio is so much fun.
Cooperative play that isn't PvP is a definite need at the moment. Valrak put a video out today or yesterday.
Yeah.
Now, we know for a fact that Valrak is a huge Space Marine 2 fan and a Space Marine fan originally. In fact, I think one of the ways his channel originally came into being was from playing Space Marine 1 on his channel, right? Massive, massive, massive Space Marine fan. So I think you can expect lots and lots of Space Marine 2 content from Sam in the future. However, he put a video out saying that hackers have already made their way into PvP on Space Marine 2. People are already using cheats to play that game.
Yeah.
Do you know when you don't have to worry about cheats? When you and your buddies are jumping into a cooperative mission against the PvE mission, right? And I think that for any game in our space, whether that be AoS or 40k, having that PvE element with friends as a cooperative thing is absolutely crucial, in my opinion.
Yeah, and a lot of people have complained that Space Marine 2 doesn't have. This was a great idea, and I wish they would implement it in other games. You have you have crossplay on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation for single player and operations. PvP, it's PlayStation and Xbox are cross-played together, and then PC's on its own.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I like it because it keeps hackers out.
It doesn't, though.
It's harder to do for hackers.
Yeah, it doesn't keep them out.
It doesn't.
The narrative that console gamers tell you that only PC players hack is absolute bullshit nowadays. It doesn't keep hackers out at all. It reduces the risk 100%, but it doesn't keep them out.
But by reducing that risk, so it's easier for people to hack on PC, so they could kind of stay over there, like because PC hacks nowadays are so prevalent that you could buy them off TikTok.
Yeah.
Right? Someone streaming a game, hacking, showing off that they're hacking, and they go, follow my link, buy my hacks here. Right? And then you download it to your PC, and then boom, you've got hacks on your computer, and you can see through walls, you've got infinite ammo and stuff. And that's what you've got a bit in Space Marine 2 on the PC stuff. Being able to make your PC beat a system to make it think that make the server think that it's an Xbox is a lot harder. So you've really got to want it. You've really got to. So your average Joe.
It is. It's not unheard of, though.
It's not unheard of, but your average Joe isn't going to be doing it. So like, for instance, I always reference Call of Duty because it's a nightmare at the moment, and that's why I've stopped playing. Is that in every game in 120 players, you're probably going to get about 4 hackers every server, and they ruin it for everyone, right? On a console to console crossplay, and then maybe the odd PC person dropping in with hacks, you're probably going to have 1 in 1,000.
By hackers, by the way, we simply mean people that have installed cheats on their game.
Yeah.
In order to gain an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
So there's not a man sat behind a computer going boop, boop, boop.
It's not like Swordfish with Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although that's what we want.
Yeah, you haven't had to wish anyone anything today.
I haven't. It's been quite...
It's all right, isn't it?
It's been quite restful. So that's what we're building.
Yeah. Thanks, Ash. Love you.
Thank you, Wicktail. A Kado Ezekiel style anti-hero vampire or playing as a witch hunter would be great. Have narrative, single player, and bring in hirelings, thralls for co-op. Yeah. That'd be great. Also, I love Kado.
Did you glue the cape on and then just paint?
I managed to get all the way up to you then with those snips.
Yeah.
I think I had it off actually.
Did you really?
Yeah, because my flesh terrors, their backpacks are black, so the backpack had to be off the model anyway. It had to not be.
Why would that make a difference?
So I had the cape off because that was also black. Because it's cooler. I love these March of War bases, but they didn't think about Adress Agatone when he was sculpting them.
No, I'd imagine he didn't, Jay. Think about that one model.
Which is selfish on his part.
Yeah. Oh, Joe, we're up to 6 gifted memberships.
Oh!
Have we upset you?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on right now? I'm worried we've upset chat, Jay.
Yeah?
There's 204 people watching.
204 people try and watch me figure out how to fucking base this guy.
I
didn't think about this.
If every single one of you gives 5 memberships, that's 204 people that will get a Joe wish. And we probably hit our target as well. Elect Man, thank you for 5 gifted memberships.
He's going to have to go on Pride Rock. Oh, thank you, Elect Man. I hope that...
Oh, I love you, Elect Man.
I hope that your dinner tonight is fish finger sandwiches.
Oh, I love a fish finger sandwich.
I fucking love fish finger sandwiches.
It's been a long time.
I got surprised by my partner on Saturday night. I sat down to play some Space Marine 2. She was like, off you pop. And I was like, oh, thank you. She treats me like a child. But then I act like a child, so what do you expect? She was like, go play a new game. So off I waddled.
Waddle, waddle.
And then about 20 minutes later, she was like, fish finger sandwiches. And I was like, wife material right there.
Oh, so you proposed?
No. I can afford fish fingers. I can't afford an expensive ring. Maybe a Haribo one. Fish finger sandwich, it was fucking incredible.
Don't you have to put the cape on to put the shoulder pads on? You're going to tell me you left the shoulder pads off now as well?
Yeah, because the flesh tearers ones are black. So I had to spray those separately. I've got this thing that looks like a bed of nails, so when I build flesh tearers, I build the models, and then I've got the bed of nails is covered with shoulder pads, backpacks, and helmets, and then I airbrush them all black separately.
I kind of want to do it separately and do a really nice job, but
you could do them separately and then do them gold or something.
Sam Deacon, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Sam.
Anything that's 5 gifted membership or above now, Joe, I'm shouting about it immediately.
Okay. I hope that when you go to McDonald's, the Grimace milkshake is in stock. I've not had it yet because
Didn't you hope that one last week as well?
Yeah, but it still eludes me.
Sam, thank you, man.
I'm hoping it's going to come back around, you know?
Sam and Alec, man, carrying the channel.
Yeah.
You legends, thank you so much. Bunch of heroes. So you're saying I basically get to the point where... But then you couldn't have stuck on his... Well... Surely then you couldn't have stuck on the front rope with the shield.
Ah!
Where's your captain? Let's go find this captain.
Adress has only got half a face. Oh, because he's got the little mouthy tube.
Oh, wow, we're at the dizzy heights of 16 members, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tank Young Unknowing. Thank you, thank you, Super Ready. Thank you, Soups. Thank you, Dark Like Vader. Oh, sad times. James L. Jones died, didn't he, yesterday? Very sad times for nerds everywhere. But at least they got another Lion King movie out of him. Signal would lend... Oh, Sigma, I'm assuming. It said you've read Sigma. Would lend itself to a Shadow of Mordor style game very well. Open world with factions, loads of character, epic duels. Yeah, I can believe that. You're like a. I do like the witch hunter idea, where you're literally like you have to go from like town to town with your group of people, kind of looking for people in the Undercity. You smelly bastards!
I've been over there.
I know you brought it with you.
What are you talking about? Oh, you went plasma pistols as well. I feel bad now. So did you stick this bit on after the fact as well? This rope piece is separate, look.
Go ahead.
This rope piece is separate at the front.
Oh, you're so smelly.
I'm back on protein, Jay. Had a week off. Back now.
No, I think I stuck that on.
But how? Without having a shoulder pad stuck on?
Because I'm great.
I don't think that's true.
I want to rebase my entire Flesh Tearers army.
No. What do we do, Chad? We just fucking start sticking this together.
So, there we go.
So what worries me is...
Adress. I'm going to put them on your one because your one's not broken. See? And people can see what a badass Space Marine looks like. I built one.
It worries me about getting in behind on this robe.
Should we see what Adrex's rules are, by the way? I told you what his rules are?
No.
He's an absolute unit.
I've just never really cared for salamanders. My nephew will love you. He's mad for salamanders.
I used to. So when Horus Heresy first got released, Horsey Heresy. When they released Vulcan, I was like, that model is beautiful, right? Beautiful.
The actual Primarch.
The Primarch model of Vulcan, and I was like, he's great. And then they released the Pyroclast guys, who was beautiful. They're like, they got the carrying on the big flamer, and they've got like the masks, which are made out of like Drake scale. And then they released the Terminators, and I was like, ooh-wee! The guy from Rick and Morty, Mr. Poopy Butthead. You don't watch Rick and Morty, do you?
No.
He's great. Mr. Poopy Butthead is a great character. He's basically like a walking Tic Tac. He looks like a banana with a top hat. Anyway, I basically, my mate was like, I will buy you a Salamander's army if you commission paint an army for me. I was like, done.
The base doesn't seem to fit.
Oh, no, because I'm going to build up around it on the outside. That's what I do. With the March of War bases, I do highly recommend.
Recommend?
So the rubble bases, I do really like the March of War bases. They are really nice. Paddy's done a really nice Custodes army for his.
Yeah, I don't.
With the March of War bases, and he's done really nice marble ones. But the biggest problem, I would say, with the rubble bases specifically, is that if I go the camera, is that we're over here. We're over here. The widths on the bases are not consistent all the way around. So what I do is I snip off the outside ring section, like that. So you end up with something that looks like this. They fly everywhere, these things. So then what I do with my models is I build up around the outside with, you can either use the textured mud or sand, just to build them up, and then you have a bit underneath. Because I kind of want to future-proof them to a position where I can have them magnetized. Right in the corner there. Pew pew with his little framer hand. So yeah, that's why. So Liam's entire World Eaters army is done in that way, and it just looks great. So yeah, March of War. It's specifically that rubble range where I wish that he'd done it in. He'd done them as base toppers instead of single piece bases. Oh, sorry, that man. It's Mr. Poopy Butthole. There's a great episode where Mr. Poopy Butthole's wife leaves him and takes the kid, and then there's this whole thing where he goes into a pit of despair and they have an intervention.
That sounds awful.
It's hilarious episode. Rick and Morty really plays with the heartstrings whilst also being hilarious. Where are you, Salamander's army? Here we are. Adress Agatone, right? Move 6, toughness 4, 2 up armor save, 5 wounds, leadership 6, OC 1, 4 up invuln. Right?
Pretty standard for a captain.
Pretty standard captain.
Crapton.
Although I don't understand why he's got 5 wounds and not 6. He's got the Drakis Hand Flamer, so it's D6 plus 3. Hand Flamer Torrent, strength 4 minus 1. So anywhere between 4 and 9 Hand Flamer shots, which is not bad. And then his hammer is 5 attacks, hitting on 2s at strength 10 minus 2 flat 3.
Okay.
So he's not Seth, but he hits hard with his big old hammer. His leader ability, whilst his model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, you can re-roll the wound roll.
Right.
And then whilst the enemy unit is within engagement range of this model, half the objective control characteristic of models in that unit. So I was like, straight into Blade Guard you go. Re-rolling wound roll Blade Guard. And then there's a stratagem in the Salamander's attachment where they get +1 to wound in combat.
You think you'd ever build an army that a space marine that doesn't have Blade Guard in it?
No, because they're my favourite. The first Space Marine, I literally opened up operations and like, here's your selection of 7 Space Marines. I'm like, Blade Guard done. The special ability is to put down a banner. Not only is he a Blade Guard, he's got a fucking banner. And what do I love?
So the Blade Guard Ancient.
I love banners. They're so good. He's like the Blade Guard Ancient, but better. Because the Blade Guard Ancient doesn't have a shield or a power sword.
Do you not think, though, that
he's got a banner?
Hey, here's all my different chapters, and they've all got the same Blade Guard. You're like,
if only their Primaris upgrade packs had more options. Instead of going, here's a bear head, 2 helmets, some shoulder pads and a random sergeant weapon. They should have gone, here's your shoulder pads, here's 1 or 2 helmets, here are 3 blade guard shields, which you could also put on Terminators if you wanted to.
Well, that's not going to help you have more than just blade guard for every army you play, is it?
No, but I'd have fancier ones. Was that not the argument?
No, that's not the argument, Joe. The argument is if you're going to have multiple chapters, I'm not saying just go Phobos for your Raven Guard or just go jump infantry for your Blood Angels, but just going, I've got 3 chapters, they've all got 18 blade guard, is a bit dull.
Well, no, I'm only going to have 6. I'm only going to have 1 unit of blade guard in my Salamanders because everything else is going to have a flamethrower.
Well, at this rate, I can't afford to buy any of it, so...
Well, that's fine. I've got all of it at home. Shut up, Joe. Oh, yeah. But what I am looking for, if anyone is so inclined, the Salamanders, Horus Heresy, Terminators. Those guys are sexy boys. Sexy boy. And the Pyroclast Flamer Men. I want to use those instead of Infernus Marines. Because they look like because everyone else has got the exact same Infernus Marines, but Salamanders, I felt they should have fancier hand flamers. Not hand flamers, flamethrowers.
I reckon I can glue these shoulder pads on and then take the thing off afterwards.
Yeah?
Should we try?
That's what I did.
What I've just said?
I think... No, it's not. Carry on. I'm going for a wee-wee.
Don't leave me with them.
And then
they hate me
you
right
can
now.
Talk to...
They hate me right now, Joe. Don't leave me with them.
Tank the Unknowing.
What's he said?
As someone who really loves XCOM, I think a turn-based game set in AoS would be great. Maybe a realm-wide conspiracy finder or infiltrate enemy base.
Thank you, Tank, for the 5.
Yeah.
Thank you for the 5, dude. I reckon Space Marine 2 turn-based game, flop. I reckon the reason why it's such a success is because it's a more standard modern-day game that's not turn-based. You want to play turn-based AoS, play AoS. So I don't know. If Space Marine 2 had come out and it was a turn-based game, it's a strong likelihood that I just wouldn't have bothered playing it. So I feel like part of the reason for its success is simply because it's not turn-based. Maybe that's just me, though. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know where this goes. I think like that. Have you considered Gorgon Terminators? Iron Hand's got one thing right. They have. Gorgon Terminators are pretty, right? We're trying to get this on whilst not gluing the robe for the sake of painting. We're trying. We're trying. We're going to hold this like this now and hope that it all sticks, and then we'll pull the robe off the back in a minute. And it should be fine, and then we can paint it separately. Important. We've got 10 minutes left, and we're on 16 gifted memberships right now, chat. Exclamation mark help. I am waiting for Games Workshop to do something with Bikes, White Scars on 11th or 12th. Didn't the turn-based Greylight game do well? I have no idea. I don't know. I was looking at Space Marine detachments last night. So basically, after I finished playing the game all day, this is why a game for AoS that's as good could and potentially should do really well, or for the game in general, is because I came away from the video game yesterday, and then I spent my evening, I went to bed, I helped Luce and the kids sort something out, went to bed, and sat there with the list builder open and looking through rules and stuff. And like, I feel like if AoS had a similar thing that mainstreamed people into the hobby, it would have people would perhaps have a similar uptake on certain OS factions, depending on what the computer game covers. And I was looking at rules last night. I looked at the rules for the mounted detachment, which is essentially the White Scars detachment. They're not very good when you consider Outriders are a bit pap, aren't they, at the moment? Power Pilgrim, thank you for 5 gifted memberships, you beautiful, beautiful human. I hope the next time that you go to use a vacuum cleaner, it's emptied already and you don't have to empty it before you use it, because there's nothing worse than going to the bin and then you press the button and the bottom opens, it goes poof, and then all this dust and shit goes everywhere, gets in your face. There you go. I did one because Joe's not here. Thank you so much for the 5 though, man. Up to 21. We're a fifth of the way there with 6 minutes to go. It might be that I stay on for a bit longer. If that's your plan, you're evil people. I hope you muted.
What?
I hope you muted.
Yes.
Okay, good. I obviously didn't.
I just had to check.
What was 21 members, Joe?
21?
Yeah, I know.
Like, the amount of seconds left to go?
Only 79 to hit target in 7 minutes. 6 minutes. I have successfully taken the robe off with the shoulder pads on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How much time have we got?
Well, at this rate, another half an hour.
Okay, I'll build some aggressors. I don't have the instructions, so this would be fun.
We do have to write Brom's list for him, because he doesn't know what he knows he's running Sons of Behemoth, but he doesn't know the rules.
Yeah. I don't have the instructions, so
Zenon, thank you for the 1 gifted. Legend.
I'm going to guess 33.
So we have got to write his list for him, but that's not too bad.
36.
Hello there.
Oh, hello.
Joe's got a new best friend.
Why is it talking to me?
Because it thinks you said Siri. And that one was my personal iPad, so it was set up to use Siri.
Why do some of these booties have? The aggressor models are so weird, aren't they?
I love them. A lot of people don't like the big booties. I like the big booties.
I like heavy intercessors. They're cool. But now I want. Why did they make the heavy intercessor option to have all heavy bolters?
Yes.
Because
Like an actual Devastator squad.
like an actual Devastator squad. 'Cause I don't think we feel like we needed an intercessor, like a heavy intercessor battle line unit. What's their stats? What's their rules? Heavy intercessors. 100 points. These guys better be incredible.
Warning, they're not.
They're not. Toughness 6, 3 wounds, 3 up save. What are they armed with? For every 5 models in this unit, 1 heavy intercessor heavy bolt rifle could be replaced with 1 heavy bolter. Okay. A heavy bolt rifle is 2 shots, assault heavy, hits on 3, strength 5, 1 damage. That's a bit 2, isn't it? Or, although if they stand still, they do hit on 2s, it's strength 5 minus 1. And the heavy bolter is obviously a heavy bolter.
Really struggling
but their
with
heavy
stick.
bolter is assault.
Yeah.
They can advance and shoot it, which is kind of cool. And then unyielding in the face of foe. While this unit is within range of an objective marker you control, each time an attack with a damage characteristic of 1 is allocated to any model in the unit, add 1 to the armor saving throw made against that attack. That's not bad. That's pretty good. It's not bad at all. Yeah, Steven says, I feel heavy intercessor sergeant should have a power fist. He should, considering that the aggressor version has 2. An odd choice. Odd choice. Yeah. I'm going to be running Soul Blight tonight because I painted some models for it and I haven't had a chance to use them yet.
You're a right mess of this.
So,
This is why I don't sub-assembly.
yeah?
Because if I'd have made the same mess after I painted it, I'd cry.
Yeah.
The clearest thing in the world to build, though.
That's why you use super glue. Use little dibby dabs. You do the dibby dab song. Dibby dab, dibby dab. Song. Yes, I like that. Boom. Boom. Yeah. Well, on to our topic. So do you think that it's worthwhile? I don't know if it's worthwhile doing it or not. That's the problem with age.
I think no.
No.
At the moment, I think no. Do I want it? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I think it's coming? No.
I think Age of Sigmar lends itself to television and film better than games. If you look at the success of Game of Thrones, for instance, that's a made-up universe with sprites and demons and devils and witches and hags and things, right? It's easily doable for Age of Sigmar. But I think you lean more into the horror and darkness side of Age of Sigmar for the TV series. Make it a bit more adult. I'm not saying you have to have loads of sex in it, but...
Just rescuing this, mate. I'll be 2 seconds. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. TV and film, I think, would work really nicely. The thing is with gameplay or gaming allows the player to immerse himself in that universe, which is why I think Space Marine is going to do so well for the generic Warhammer 40k hobby.
Yeah.
Whereas TV and film, less so. You still immerse yourself in the universe, definitely.
Yeah.
But less so overall, right? So
Well, the thing is though, we already know what a battle between a bunch of people with swords and shields and magic and bows and arrows. You know, we already know what that looks like, don't we?
Yeah.
Whereas we don't know what a battle in the 41st millennium actually looks like, actually sounds like.
I wonder if GW moving from fantasy to Age of Sigmar makes the concept of a video game in that particular realm slightly worse. Because if you think about Game of Thrones and you think about Lord of the Rings and you think about the big fantasy franchises out there, they're incredibly popular. They do very well.
Yeah.
They do very, very well. So it could be argued that fantasy does sell and fantasy does do well. And then you go, hey, here's our version of fantasy that's different to everybody else's version of fantasy. And everyone's like, oh, hang on. It doesn't have elves and goblins. Yeah, it does. They're called elves and they're called Gloomspite. They're like, yeah, not really bothered now.
Yeah.
And maybe what they've done is by switching from the old world setting to the, I like the fact I've got a spare power for something now. By switching from the old world setting to this new kind of Age of Sigmar fantasy-based setting, perhaps they've not done themselves any favours. I might actually put a fucking screamy face on him.
Screamy face?
Yeah, I actually might try and paint some actual heads.
Ugh.
Have you caught up apart from the last one that's just come through? Because if you have, I'll read this one out.
I haven't done the last one yet, no.
Chad, thank you for the 20. Still catching up, but for an AoS game, I think something simple like an action-adventure game where you play it as a free guild soldier fighting against the whole of destruction, chaos and death would be cool.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool. Absolutely, I think it'd be cool.
Yeah. I think that's the only way to really go about it. Make it beautiful, make the storyline really good, have a decent co-op. Like, what people are complaining about Space Marine is one of the great things I like about it. It's so simple. There's no crouching, there's no jumping.
Yeah, this is part of why I don't like it.
It's just run around, hit shit.
I don't mind a lack of jumping. The fact that sometimes there's a flat piece of land like this, and then there's a little bit that comes up this way, and a Tyrannid can jump all the way up there, and I can't even vault over the edge part. I have to run all the, that's so fucking irritating. Or the fact that I would have been happier if the Assault Intercessor, for example, for the 3-player co-op missions, wasn't a jump intercessor, just an Assault Intercessor.
Yeah.
Because what he does with his jump pack is pathetic.
I figured out how that works, by the way, how to get the most out of it. But it's also, compared to the single player, which is much more what a jump pack is.
Yeah, exactly.
But I understand why they had to implement limitations, otherwise it would be too powerful.
So don't put it in the first place then.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a half-assed job of it.
It's more of like the Reaver's kind of weird flappy paddle thing.
The fact that you can't crouch behind a rock to take cover, the fact that you can't vault over little ledges, there's a lot of stuff in there. I'm like, the game is beautiful and I thoroughly enjoyed it and I'm looking forward to playing it again, don't get me wrong. But there's a reason why it will never be a AAA title if they're not going to put in vaults and crouches and basic movement mechanics. Basic movement mechanics. I use a PlayStation 5 controller to play Space Marine, right? As I'm sure a lot of people do. Even though I'm playing on PC, I think it definitely lends itself to controller more than it does to mouse and keyboard. Although I wish I could use mouse and keyboard for shooting because I think I'd be significantly more accurate with the recoil because I'm so used to it. That aside, I was using a PlayStation 5 controller, right? PlayStation 5 controller has got a myriad of buttons. So I use R1 and R2, and I use L1 and L2. L1 and R1 is your block and your swing your chainsaw and stuff. L2 and R2 is your guns, right? Cool, okay, no worries. I use right on my D-pad for stims and triangle for my ability, which means I've got left, up, down, and I've got square, circle, X as all buttons I could have used. Would it have been a absolute fucking a million miles away to go crouch, circle, vault, X, not jump, vault. Jump over small things. Really, you couldn't do that? Like, it's those kinds of basic gameplay mechanics that are really, really irritating.
Yeah. So the controls aren't mind-blowing, right, in terms of it. But even games like Gears of War doesn't have a jump.
Well, I'm asking for a jump, I'm asking for a vault. I'm just asking to be able to vault over something that is ankle height rather than getting stuck on it.
Yeah.
As a 10-foot super soldier, I'd expect not to get stuck on something that's ankle height.
Yeah.
I'd also expect my jump pack to mean that if I fall off the edge of a ledge, I press my jump pack button and I go back up to the top of the ledge. Because I've got a jump pack. It's a fucking jump pack.
It's a fucking jump pack.
Yeah. It's again, like I said yesterday, right? I'm not saying the game's bad for these reasons. They're minor annoyances in what is otherwise a good game. It just annoys me slightly that those things don't exist. Because there seem to be very basic mechanics that you would normally expect from every single game nowadays. A vault, a crouch.
Yeah, I've played a lot of games that don't even have like a vault or a jump in it. Like, I played a really good game recently. It's called Still Waits the Deep. It's very similar to like Alien Isolation. Where you don't even have a gun. You just got your hands. Basically, you spend a lot of the time running and hiding. There's no shooting, no jumping and stuff. It's just running and hiding. And that was a really good game. It was just a really well story-driven single-player game. I don't know, do all games have to be the same?
No, they don't. But when you're going into combat as a genetically engineered super soldier who's been trained to near perfection in combat, and you can't crouch behind a wall to take cover from guns, you're not very good at your combat, are you?
You never know.
Or you get stuck on a fucking ankle-high ridge that you can't hop over. Like that's stuff that, for me, can start to ruin the immersion a little bit. Yeah. I'm being hyper picky because I actually think the game's fun, the game's enjoyable, and graphically and audibly it's amazing. I wonder if it was an AoS game, I wonder if they'd get away with the same kind of inefficiencies, I guess. Like, I think perhaps people would be more critical. I think, again, Space Marine carries that game. I put a review out on Twitter after yesterday, and it was very honest. I said, gameplay is a solid 7 to 7.5.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I added that it's probably a 6.5 if you could only play the campaign solo. 6.5.
Yeah.
If you're not a Warhammer fan and you could only play the campaign solo, 6.5 out of 10 that game, at best, right? In my opinion. And obviously reviewing is absolutely opinion based, and your mileage may vary. You might think differently to me. Because you can play the solo campaign as a 3-player co-op, that 6.5 goes to a 7.5.
Yeah.
Right? In my opinion. Because you get the option to play that game with friends. And there are moments where we were backing into the facility with all three of us blazing weapons at Tyranids trying to get, like, that was cool as shit.
Yeah.
And having that moment with you and Josh at the same time was fucking incredible, right?
Yeah.
That makes it a solid 7.5 out of 10. If you're not a Warhammer fan, I think that's where it ends. 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Right? If you, however, are a Warhammer 40k fan, I reckon that pushes it to an 8.5, 9 out of 10 because they've captured the world so well.
Yeah.
They've captured the audio, the atmosphere, they've captured the Tyranids, they've captured rubrics, they've captured cultists and Zangors. I think they've captured the world so well. If you're a Warhammer fan, I think they've done an incredible job of representing the world of the 41st millennium, and that pushes it up. And I feel like that is the undertone for me. Because it's Space Marines, it carries a lot of that game.
Yeah.
Honestly. I think there's a lot of Warhammer 40k players out there that will be like, it's the best thing in the world because it's Space Marines and they get to play as a Space Marine.
Yeah.
If you'd have given them that exact same game mechanics, same story, completely different world, they'd probably be less bothered by it.
Oh yeah, 100%. But the thing is, I love it because it is Space Marines.
Which is fine, of course.
And I fucking love Space Marines.
And here's the thing, right? I absolutely wouldn't have even considered playing that game if it wasn't Warhammer 40k and it wasn't Space Marines. And I'm actually enjoying it, but I also think that part of why I'm enjoying it is because it's Space Marines. Because I think if I was playing that same game mode and those same mechanics and a game that wasn't Space Marine, there's no way I'm doing 10 hours yesterday. I'd have got bored.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really bothered by this anymore. Honestly.
One aggressor.
Oh.
Done. He's not a salamander yet because he's not green. Boop. Apparently they have cables and stuff, but we won't care.
They do have cables and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you've got these little weird connection points top here, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
They go off to the backpack.
I don't know which ones go where.
It's these ones, not these ones. These are the flame ones. These are the Boltstorm ones, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, they look a bit.
You can get the instructions online anyway.
Oh.
Ugh. Joe having to use the internet. Ugh. Joe having to use the internet for something that's not porn. Ugh.
Exactly.
Oh.
Why else? Why would I look at it? Why would I waste my time?
Space Marines.
Oh no! I didn't pay attention to which one was which.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. No, I'm alright. I'm good. These cables have 3 pieces for 1 arm. Ugh. Ugh, brother, ugh.
Yeah, they are, I'm afraid.
Makes me sad. Makes me sad. Right, we've had some more super chats.
Have we? Apparently they can't be stopped.
From Cray, surprise, we haven't had a game for the rise of a Chaos Lord from start of a barbarian to fully fledged demon prince or something of the sort. I said this. Those are exact words I said. Not in that order, but yeah. So I like the idea. Maybe like an Archeon, the rise of Archeon. Going around, smashing people up, destroying the old world, you know?
Yeah, I'd be into that. That'd be cool.
Because I think that'd be pretty awesome. But then you're setting it in the old world again, not AoS. So it's a terrible idea.
Well, Archeon exists in AoS.
Yeah, but it wasn't a barbarian in AoS.
No, but you can start off with like a Dark Oath Marauder or something. Move your way up to Chieftain. Go to Demon Prince.
My name is Chief Big Willie.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. Right, this goes here.
I've cleaned up his helmet, but I think I might put a head on him at some point.
Yeah, that's what she said.
It is what she said, Jay, yes.
Thank you,
That's
Benjamin.
what I love about you, the most. You're so mature.
Yeah, why not? I'm so mature. Thank you, Benjamin Dustin says a free guild guy dies mid-game, comes back just as a Stormcast for the rest of the game, brings Stormcast some narrative and demonstrates the lore in-game. Maybe you just make it Maybe you make it a Battlefield game.
I'm listening.
Right? Where you start off the game, you all start off as like random humans, and you have a big war, and then the moment you die, you get zapped up into the space, and then you come back as a Stormcast, and then when you die again, you come back. Maybe you come up a bit stronger, but you have less abilities or something.
The problem is that I die a lot
Yeah.
in every game I play.
Yeah, so it balances out. So
I die a lot, Jay.
so you're not overpowered now because you're terrible at the game.
Yeah.
See? Perfect idea.
I'm okay with being terrible at the game though, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at most games and I don't care.
And that's good.
Yeah.
At least you know.
Yeah. Right, chat, you beautiful fuckers.
Hang on.
It's currently 3:15.
Oh my
We're
God.
supposed to finish 15 minutes ago, right?
See, I made it work. See, no instructions needed.
We managed to finish it. We were supposed to finish 15 minutes ago, you wonderful humans. Can we get to halfway for our membership target before I turn this stream off, which will be happening imminently? Now, 181 people watching right now, okay? If every single person who hasn't already gifted gifts one,
Yeah.
will actually smash the whole target, not just half the target.
Yeah.
If half of you do it, we'll still smash the whole target, not just half the target. Oh, is this the right one? Yeah, this is the right one. All right. If anyone gives 5, Joe gives you a special wish, which definitely comes true, not legally binding.
Yeah. I'm not a wizard.
Barry.
Oh, I so love building Space Marines. The only thing that upsets me about the aggressor range, right, and it's very minimal. They're not very customizable.
Because of the cables.
Well, the cables don't help, and also they're quite like blobby, aren't they? Blobby.
What are you building? Aggressors or heavy intercessors?
Aggressors. I do have some heavy intercessors at home.
I love heavy intercessors.
But then they're not massively. They're more convertible because they don't have the things.
Cray, thank you for 10 gifted memberships.
I hope, Cray, that you next time you go to a restaurant to have dinner, they give you a free cocktail.
Joe, it's happening. So they sort of listened a bit, kind of.
And then thank you, Jill. Thank you, Lone Monkey Productions. Thank you, Evan Tominello, and thank you, Sean William Scott.
All for the all for the ones.
For the one.
35. We're 15 away
Yeah.
from halfway. But I'll take halfway at the moment, considering we started on 4 for the first hour. You're amazing. Thank you so much, all of you, for actually paying attention to my silly statements and gifting.
We are halfway there. This is on a chair.
Yeah.
People shit on Games Workshop for their 40k models, right?
How? There's a couple of shitty sculpts, right?
But-
So, Desolation Marines, awful.
But, right, how they design stuff and how it links together is pretty good,
Brian, thank you for the one gifted. Yeah.
all right? And I'll give Games Workshop compliments where they deserve it, right? Those cables came in 3 pieces. They are specific to this model, but they all link up. There's no gaps, there's no holes, nothing. That guy's got all of his cables, doesn't look untidy, looks quite nice. And it just fits seamlessly. And I built it without instructions. That means
Apple
you
repair.
can too.
Apple repair. Thank you so much, Brian, for the one. Thank you, all the other people, for gifting as well. Listen to my silly little rant as I panic about the fact that we're on fucking 10 members or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've got children to feed, please help me. By children to feed, I mean Joe.
Just get rid of the children.
Get rid of you.
No, your children.
Exactly.
I'm not a child.
Really?
I'm an adult.
I think you're more difficult to look after than my
The
children.
mind of a child. But
My children definitely ask to stop for bathroom breaks less than you do.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I have less bathroom breaks. I just have to have a sleep.
I mean, that is exactly what happened.
Yeah. If I have a sleep in the car, I don't need to wee
That captain stressed me.
because I'm an older man.
The captain really stressed me out.
Yeah.
Because the rope bit around his neck didn't seem to fit very well, and then I got glue on bits I didn't want to get glue on, and I needed to clean it up quickly so it didn't melt bits of plastic that I don't want to paint. He stressed
I've
me
never
out.
known someone to get so stressed out building models.
Well, the thing is my head is a strange place, Joe.
Yeah.
And I want, even though I know I've built this myself with a scalpel and some glue, I very much want everything to be basically perfect. And so when something goes wrong, there's where I cleaned up the iron halo on his backpack here, not his Yeah, his backpack. Is it his backpack? Yeah. There's a gap that I've made where I've cut too much material away there. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
That annoys me.
Oh. I mean, you won't see it.
It doesn't matter. It annoys me. It sits behind his fucking head. So it sits proud. It annoys me that it's there. It will continue to annoy me that it's there. That would go away.
Just get over it.
Nah, see, that's not how I work, man, I'm afraid.
Just don't care.
I'm trying to be a little bit more laissez-faire with it all, which is, because it's part of the reason why I think I've often not done particularly well at getting things painted. Because I need everything to be perfect all the time.
Yeah. Have you seen some of the models, the paint jobs that people have done out there?
I have, yes. It's helping.
Yeah.
And then what happens is I turn on Instagram and look at like a Daz Latham or something.
Yeah, but are you Daz Latham? Are you going to spend an entire working week painting one model, then never play with it because it just goes in the display cabinet?
No. But that doesn't stop me from going, it's not perfect, I'm now annoyed by it.
Just don't do it.
It's not how it works. It doesn't work like that, mate.
It does.
If it were like that, do you not think I'd already be like, yeah, just don't worry about it? Surely I'd already have done that if that was how it worked.
Nah, I just don't think you thought about it. Just don't do it. There you go, I've told you, I've fixed your problems. Just don't do it. Just go over it.
I reckon
Forget about it.
if I leave his cape off of the captain, I actually reckon I could glue him to his base.
Yeah.
Because his tactical rocks actually don't block a lot off, do they? Did you glue him to the base and paint him?
Yeah, I glued him to the base. Well, I glued him to his fancy rock, which I then glued to the base.
Yeah, I might do that now.
Yeah, I do try and glue to bases as much as possible, unless like it's a really fancy base.
Currently, I've left off his cape, his helmet, and his backpack.
Oh. Backpack, you should call him Dora. Dora the Explorer.
Everything else is on him at the moment. I'm glad I'm not the only one that gets like that when building models. I lose interest quickly if I feel I've made a mistake when building. Yeah, I get like that, 100%. I looked at his backpack and I was almost like, I need to find him another backpack now.
I'm like, build it, figure out the colour scheme, when you're putting paint on it. I'm like, I like blue. Let's just put blue on it, see what happens. And then I paint an entire army. And then I'm like, don't know if I like that blue.
I never really painted blue, actually, to be fair. I never really painted blue.
I don't think I've ever done the Ultramarines army. Excuse me. I've painted Thousand Suns before.
Oh yeah, I have painted Thousands. It's a different blue though, isn't it?
Yeah. You've never done Ultramarines blue. Dweeb blue. Oh.
Yeah, Sven, you're not alone. I definitely do that all the time, mate.
Nah. I'm like... I get annoyed like if like too much glue squirts out.
Is that just a generic statement, or...?
Like if like you put glue on it and then you close it and glue goes... Bloop. My biggest hatred in life is...
You can't say that on the internet.
Is when you build a model, and I use super glue, and then for no reason whatsoever, like you put paint on the model and it kind of like crystallizes in that random area. I'm like, why?
Why, brother?
Yeah. Or my other massive hatred for modeling is when you put varnish on a model and it goes really, really like hazy. And I'm like, oh, so annoying.
I've done that before. I spent a very long time painting a Farseer on jet bike. I painted them in sub-assemblies, which I don't normally do, because I get very stressed gluing it back together once I've painted in sub-assemblies, because all too many occasions I've painted something in sub-assemblies, been incredibly proud as how it looks, gone to glue it back together and the glue's fucked the paintwork. And I'm like, why did I fucking bother? So I painted this in sub-assemblies. I glued it all together and was incredibly pleased with how it came out. I then went and got some varnish because I was like, I need to protect this. I need to protect this right now. I'm so happy with it. Instant cloudy fucking farcia.
Yeah.
I nearly cried, Joe.
I don't tend to varnish stuff if I don't put transfers on. If there's no transfers, I don't bother anymore.
I nearly cried, mate. I was so sad.
Especially on plastic stuff. I'm just like...
Oh, see, now this fucks me off as well. Fuck's sake.
What?
So this guy's robe is in 2 pieces. Part on his arm and part on the actual robe, which means I can't blend it together without sticking it to the model. Why do they do that? Because I need to get rid of all the gaps as well. I can't have robes with gaps in them because it looks shit.
Because you've upset someone at Games Workshop and they did it especially for you.
So now...
Flame my man.
Why would you fucking sadists do this shit, honestly?
Oh, I don't know. Just so mean. Just so mean.
It really annoys me.
You get an unnecessarily large amount of shoulder pads in the Aggressor box set.
Do you?
Yeah, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 shoulder pads. Right?
Right.
In a box set with 3 models.
Okay.
So you only need 6.
So you're complaining because you get too many options.
Yeah.
Cool, as long as we're clear. Okay,
It's just an unnecessarily large amount.
Joe would like less options, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you're still watching the streams, which I imagine is not the case anymore.
They've all just left. They're like, we're not bored of looking at the top of 2 men's heads.
Yeah, well.
Sexy men's heads.
I get to make Space Marines, I don't care.
Yeah. And what are people at home building?
Is anyone building along?
Yeah, there's a scratch.
Or have we bored you enough right now?
random.
Oh, John's come in and rescued us. John, we're struggling today.
Thank you, John McConnell, for 20 gifted memberships.
We are 26 minutes over schedule, John, and that you've just put us to 56.
Yeah. You keep the lights on here, John. You do.
Thank you so much, dude. What a legend.
There's different types of shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Oh, some have got studs on them and some don't.
Thank you so much, John, you legend. What do you hope for him, Joe?
I hope, John, that your staff give you no problems for the next 6 months.
Oh, that'd be nice. I'd like that wish.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Not going to happen, mate.
No, I don't think it will. You're quite right, Joe. You're quite right, mate. How you doing, John, dude?
I don't want answers. I just want problems. 23, 24,
Soups is
25.
built and is now painting the Blood Angels box.
Oh! I've not finished building that yet.
I have it on my shelf at home.
I need to. I've just got...
I'm wondering if you can paint Astrath and the Martis as Ultramarines.
No. I mean, you can do. It's your hobby.
But,
It's wrong.
like Death Company captains.
Nah, there's angry men, aren't they? They don't have a title.
They do. It's called Death Company captains in the Codex.
Yeah, I don't accept it.
But you'll build them anyway.
I'll build them because I wanted to make a cool man with a jump pack. And I was like, well, I might as well build a cool man with a jump pack that I can use in my army. Because at some point, I'm going to have to run the Death Company detachment. And
I think for competitive
And I
players,
don't have enough.
I think for tournament players, okay. Innit?
I do. I think in the tournament. I think in a tournament army, running one Death Company captain is actually a great idea. In the Sons of Sanguinius detachment, because you just buy him and you just send him forward, off to die, and then someone kills him, and you're like, "Cool, my Sanguinary Guard hit a little bit better now."
Oh, so you run him at the thing you want the extra stuff for?
Yeah. It's like when a like when a Viking has been injured and he has to die in battle, so they send him off at the start, so he can die in battle. I saw that in an episode of Vikings once.
Did you?
Yeah, a guy got really badly injured, but he didn't die in combat, so he basically forced himself to stay alive until the next fight. So then he could go and die peacefully, being stabbed. There's so many bits on the aggressor sprue.
John says it's the best wish ever.
Yeah? No problems, John.
I thought he'd take that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
To be fair, to be sure.
To be sure. Eh. Eh.
You right?
Yeah.
Making weird noises over there.
Eh. It's just so they're really cool, but they're really fiddly bits. Why is it we've got into a time when, you know, when like Space Marines are like front plate, back plate, which makes your top half, then legs.
Yeah, I've been building Harlequins this weekend.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a simpler time. You build your torso with your front and back plate. You build your set of legs. You glue your torso to your legs. You can pick and choose which torso goes on which legs. Beautiful. You get your 5 arms. So obviously 5 for one side, 5 for the other side.
Yeah.
You go, this combo on this guy, this combo on this girl, this combo on this guy, this combo on this girl, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Job done. Hey, look, I've managed to make 15 different looking Harlequins, even though it's all the same kit.
Uh-huh.
By the way, whoever designed the Companies of Heroes kit, in terms of not the actual models, but how they go together, is an absolute fucking sadist and should be shot. Why you put all these little weird sticky out bits just hanging off, that whilst you're cleaning up the model are just screaming to be bent or broken, I don't know.
Well, it's like
Sadist.
the Intercessor box set. You've got the legs, but the greaves you have to glue on. And they glue to a very specific front half and back half of the torso. And then you've got the arms. And that bugs me.
How the fuck does this go together?
Because I want more torso options. Like chapter specific ones. Because I wanted to make some like cool Blood Angels intercessors with the like Sanguinary Guard chest pieces, but it just doesn't work anymore because everything's kind of mono build push fit. All right, you gonna go together? Oh, I didn't put the glue on there. Bloop bloop bloop. There we go. Boom! Flamer Man. Double boom. With his tactical Pride Rock. Like that. I've only got 8 more to build.
Oh my God, this is stressing me.
Yeah? What's chat saying? I'm at work right now, and today is one of my gym day. So hobbying is more or less out of the question for me today, but I've been slowly building up my Cities of Sigmar. Cities of Sigmar is a great army. I'd like to see all the elves and all the dwarves to leave Sigmar, and like all the wizards and basically all the old stuff. I want it out. I want it gone. And then I want to see like a cool elite kind of palace guard. Like in the books, there's always like talk of like cool elite infantry for like a mayor of a town or a royal guard, something like that, or like a great sword unit. Maybe like an elite knight unit or something would be cool. And then some actual proper new battle mage models that are very, very sexy. Thank you, John McCardle, for another 20 gifted memberships.
Oh my God.
Even 40. Thank you, John.
Go on, you fucking legend.
Yeah.
What a hero. Save us.
I hope, John, not only do your staff not give you any problems for the
But-
next 6 months,
but...
I hope they also throw you a party.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. With pizza and
Where's...
balloons and
Hey,
cake.
what? Where's shoulder pad number 8? It's not on here. There's shoulder pad number 69.
Oh, do you need? I'm going to have to convert up my entire company heroes and my salamanders. Because I just want them to look different to my vegetarian ones.
But there is no shoulder pad number 8, Joe.
You.
And I don't know. There's 5, there's 6, there's 3, there's 8.
Have you used them already?
Oh, no. Oh, he's there, so I've cut it out already.
Thank you, Craig. And says, I once heard Modern Games Workshop model design is the first squad will look incredible, the second squad will be boring due to it being the exact same. As someone who came from 4th edition, this was a shock.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of repetition now. There's a lot less. It's a lot less easy to kit bash than it was before.
Yeah.
Not impossible, as Joe proves quite frequently. Not impossible to
I
kit
love
bash Space
converting
Marine.
space. I love cutting up and converting and green stuffing and kit bashing Space Marine. It's like my favourite thing ever.
How do you make sure this arm actually lines up and sits in the right place? So that you've got it in the right place for Mr. the Bannerman.
I think it just does.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
Or maybe I glued on the banner first and then glued on the arm. So glued the banner to the arm that already exists and then glue that one on.
Yeah, I might have to do that.
Yeah.
You got a cough, Joe? Do
I don't mind intercessors
you want me to kill the aircon?
being
Are you okay?
similar but the same, but not. I'll be all right. I'm going to have some of my iced Joe coffee.
It's nice, that stuff, actually.
Milked directly from my teat.
Oh, we'd make a killing, Joe.
Yeah.
John has single-handedly saved the stream, by the way. What a legend. Thank you. But thank you to everybody who's gifted and who's donated, etc. I'm off on Friday, off viewing houses. Wish me luck. Good luck, Kev.
Good luck, Kev.
I hope you find a wonderful one that's reasonably priced, exactly what you want, and you put an offer in, and it instantly accepts and says, yes, that's fine.
So I went and looked at a house to rent on Saturday morning. All right.
Yeah.
And I was the first of 8 people that day.
Oh, wow. Popular house.
So when I've gone to rent a house previously, you go look at a house and they go, if you like it, put a deposit on it now and then we'll just cancel the rest of the bookings for the rest of the day. Because it's yours.
Okay. I've
That's
never
what-
had that.
What?
Never had that.
Oh, that's what I had. It was a fucking nightmare when I first moved into Warminster. Well, when I moved into Warminster again a couple of years ago, when me and my ex broke up, I was like, I need a house quickly. You're right.
Nope.
He's gone and stabbed himself. You're bleeding your own blood. That was silly, wasn't it?
Thanks, mate. That went pretty deep.
Yeah. You should see my thumb sometimes. I literally, like when I'm building, if I've been building models for like 8 hours straight, my thumb is just a line of like a line of lots of little lines of cuts.
I feel like today's going to be a bad day, Joe.
Yeah?
Yeah,
And,
today's a day where I probably shouldn't have got out of bed.
Yeah. Where's this new house that we went and looked at for the first time? So yeah, so during when I did it, it was just after COVID, and it's literally a case of if you want it, pay a deposit now, done. So I went and looked at like 7 houses in one day, and it wasn't until the last flat I looked at where they were like, no, like we haven't had viewings today, and I was like, fine, I'm taking it. I have to because I have nowhere else to live. I think I did it. So it was a nightmare. Whereas the one we looked at on Saturday, basically the landlady lives directly next door, and basically she wants.
Oh, they like that.
So she was like, but it's like they're like we're having all these people look. We're then going to put all the names in a hat. We're then going to create like a short list of people, and then we'll interview those people, and then we'll make a decision on who gets the house afterwards. That's weird. You've got to apply for a house.
Yeah, pretty much every single one I've rented since I left the army was, do you like it? Put in a bid, essentially. Put in your offer.
Yeah.
What's your offer? And if someone else comes in and offers more than they're asking for and you don't, and they like the other family more, you don't get the house.
I've had that before.
Even for renting, yeah.
Yeah. So I was super glad when I went there with my partner and our 2 children. And I was like, make us look like we need this house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to make them look all poor.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to look too poor.
Well, no, yeah, no, quite.
But you want to be. We were like, let's go and look like a happy family that deserves to live here.
Did you get your kids to just out loud say things like, "Oh my God, it's got more than one bedroom"?
I did say we had a conversation with the guy, the estate agent, and he was like, "Oh wait," I said, well, there's 4 of us living in a tiny little house, and like my living room is basically my office, and the girls are literally like sleeping on top of each other because they've got so much shit in one room. So, thank you, John McCardle. It says Band-Aid Fund.
Oh no, just use super glue.
Yeah. Although it can sting a little bit.
Yes, Joe, but I also don't have a vagina, so
Oh, wow.
it's fine. Okay, glued it. Jobs are done. Glued it shut. Thank you, John, for the 10. You're a legend.
Yeah.
Glued it shut.
Yeah.
Sorted.
I want to get at least 3 of these dweebs built today.
You're actually going to paint them with salamanders, though?
Yeah.
But didn't you say to me just before we went live on stream you're just going to do Raven Guard and Flesh Terrors, and you're not going to do?
No,
White Scars?
I said I'm doing. I'm shelving White Scars.
Okay.
I'm going to do Salamanders because I've made the Salamanders army, and the units that are going in my Salamanders aren't really going to go in anything else.
Okay.
Because, like, I've got the Salamander characters, for instance, and I'll never use the Flame Storm detachment for any other army.
Not like Brom.
Not like Brom. But I was like, I've got loads of other Space Marine things in my house that like I've done, like I've kind of put together and built for White Scars, and I'm like, and I've got loads of other units. I'm not sure about where I want them to go, and I'm like, I really like want my my Raven Guards to be good, you know.
Yeah, you love Raven Guard, right?
I really fucking love Raven Guard. I just want them. But like I've kind of lost a bit of love, like a little passion, because like the way I built them just wasn't very good. And then I was like, some of the units that I need for my White Scars, I've already got in my Raven Guard already.
Yeah,
Like
so you have to
like
build
this
them and paint them a
bead
whole
is.
other time.
So I was like, I might as well just add the stuff I haven't painted to the Raven Guard.
To the Rafflecopter.
And then the 18 bikes I have for the White Scars will be split between the Raven Guard and the
I'm very sad for
Flesh
bikes.
Terrors. Yeah, I really want White Scars to be good, but White Scars' problem is the same problem that White Scars have had for a very, very, very long time. And that is...
Ravenwing exists.
Ravenwing exists, yeah. and Games Workshop's already given Ravenwing all the best stuff in this edition anyway. So what normally happens with Ravenwing, and that for that one time in 7th edition, when it was the other way around, where White Scars players just run their army as Ravenwing,
Yeah.
because they got the best rules, and there was one time in 7th edition when it was the other way around. I just want them to be cool, and the problem is that Outriders for Space Marines are just a bit terrible.
They're shit, aren't they, really? I was looking at it. In the White Scars attachment, they're not the worst in the world.
No.
By the way, chat, the AoS show is supposed to finish at 3 o'clock. We just carried on because I was enjoying building things. The AoS chat is almost done now, as you can tell. I want Outriders to be really cool because I think they could be cool. And in White Scars attachment, which is the Storm Lance or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
they're okay.
Yeah.
You can give them Lance and you can give them extra AP and you can make them a little bit better. But basically, they're just a bit shit.
Well, the thing is that it's a 3-up armor save, 4 wound, Toughness 5, I think. Toughness 5, 4 wounds, model with a 3-up armor save. And everything in the game is strength 6, -2, 2 damage. So 2 wounds go through, which means it's got a 5-up save, and it's just dead. And their bases are huge. They're like that big. So maybe a bit smaller, like that. So a 6-man unit with a chaplain takes up a massive part of the table. They die really quickly, and then that gap is just empty. And they're just not very good.
Okay. Right.
They're made better in because you can advance and charge. You can get across the table really quickly. But one of the chaplain's main abilities for the unit is it gives the unit devastating wounds, so it can't shoot when it advances. So their only real gimmick is rush across the table, lock everything up, kill a few things, then probably die. Whereas if you run the same unit, if you run maybe one unit in Blood Angels, on the charge across the table, they can still advance and charge. The chaplain gives them +1 to wound, but then they go from strength 4 to strength 6.
Mike, there was loads of AoS
with
chat.
more attacks.
You did loads of AoS chat.
Yeah, loads and loads. A little bit.
Oh my god.
The problem about AoS that we've got at the moment is that Games Workshop didn't send us the new stuff, so we couldn't really talk about that or show off the new models. And because we can't talk about the rules, we can't really talk about anything new.
We can talk about the rules. We got sent a digital copy of the Skaven book.
Yeah, but we're not even allowed to have that on the tablet.
We can't have that on camera.
Yeah. So part of our rules is we can't even. We could talk about it if we've memorised it, but we can't have the way that Games Workshop
We could have it. We could have it on tablets so they couldn't see it, I guess. But
you're not even allowed to do that.
Are you not?
No.
Oh, I would have broke the rules.
Yeah. So because of the great NDAs, but it's fun. But Games Workshop don't seem to have a problem with people just leaking rules. But so we can't talk about that. So it's pretty much just a case of just.
No wonder you like this guy. He's got a fucking big banner, hasn't he?
He's got a massive banner.
Although I don't like the fact that I've had to glue this cape on. It's going to annoy me when it comes to painting massively. But I need to be able to blend the join that happens down here together so it looks like there's no join. Because that'll annoy me more than having to paint the cape on, to be honest with you. He might not get glued to his base, so I can get to the underside of the cape.
Oh, shit on it.
Bumholes!
I forgot to glue his head in.
Oh, they're a pain to get in afterwards. You can do it though.
Yeah, I did it on another one, and I was like, ugh.
I painted them separately.
Also,
before.
this guy's got little baby flamers. Little teeny little baby flamer. He's got a big flamer. He's got a big flamer. Baby flamer.
Have you cut it off?
No, there's a big flamer there. Why big flamer? Why little flamer? But he's got 2 little flamer, 1 big flamer. Où est la bibliothèque?
Instructions would be really helpful right now, wouldn't they, Jay?
Oh, I'd be banging right now. I'll get so much done. You know, we will continue onwards.
You must have glued this cape together with the shoulder pad. How the fuck do you get in behind there? Oh, that's going to suck.
Honestly, I can't remember. I would say it was so long ago, but it wasn't a million years ago.
He's cool. He just...
I mean, he's a beautiful model. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to blue tack him on a fucking painting handle, and then the only way I'll be able to get in is by coming in to do. Because the thing is, inside here needs to be done. Inside here needs to be done because you can see all that. Inside there needs to be done. The rest of it you kind of get away with because you don't see most of it. So
maybe I painted the cape off him.
It's in 2 pieces, Jay. Well, if you paint the cape off him, you couldn't have had that piece on. If you don't have that piece on, then you wouldn't have had the arm on. I feel like you probably painted this build, to be fair.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, we have
Or
to
maybe
stop.
there's more black there because his cape would have been black. There would be more black showing than red. So maybe I airbrushed in black and then airbrushed like in where the red bits would
Yeah,
have
possibly. That makes a lot of sense.
been. Right, I'm going to put some glue in this little hole.
We're going to have to stop in a minute anyway because we've got to start getting ready for tonight.
Do we? Yeah. We do actually.
I kind of want to do all faces on these.
All faces,
Yeah, no helmets.
like hero space marines.
Yeah, actual heroes.
Always the
I
head.
feel like the guy with the sword, with the two-handed sword, he wants a helmeted head because
He's badass.
he's like going to run in and fight people with his
He
sword.
does want to get his head blown off.
But I feel like a man with a banner doesn't really worry about having a helmet on because he's like, well, what am I going to do? Wave a flag at you?
I don't like space marines with bare heads.
No, I've only ever glued helmets, but I'll be honest with you, I've only ever glued helmets on simply because it's easier than painting faces.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'd like to get a little bit better at painting faces. I've never really painted them. I feel like I'd like to give it a go. If I just leave all the heads off, I can paint a face, and if it's terrible, cut the helmet out, paint the helmet. Job's good at.
Or you just don't glue the head on and paint them all separately.
That's what I just said.
I was listening.
Good, okay. I don't like his silly bionic arm. I want a different left arm for him.
Well, he thinks you're silly.
Does he have like a close combat weapon so I can give him like a chainsaw or something? Because his silly bionic arm looks
He's
shit.
got a close combat weapon, but it'd be a knife. 'Cause he's got no
Knife?
But he's got no AP.
Call that a knife?
That's the only downside to that unit is that the because we were talking about the company cost. The company command is 90 points.
So none of them have chainswords, apart from the one guy with a sword.
The one guy with a sword is basically a captain. So when you put a captain in a unit, you've essentially got two captains in the unit in terms of attack output. But the three other guys have just got their fists. Just tiny fists of fury.
That's annoying, because his little bionic... I don't like bionic arms on Space Marines. They always look shit.
I don't know, I like a bionic arm.
Well, you can have that one when you make Iron Hands one day.
We can do Iron Hands, do I have to?
Well, I'm not doing it, so... You like painting black.
Oh, they're so boring.
They are pretty boring, yeah. After they got rid of all the craziness for Iron Hands, guess what? No one plays them anymore.
So
'cause
do you
no one
want-
played them for the
Do you want an
law.
army of Space Marines where their special power is just being the same as a robot?
Oh, there's no spare left arm in this box. I need to find some spare left arms. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right, you
Their-
wonderful people.
Their special trait is being boring.
I've just seen the time. Whoops, I got a bit carried away building Space
It's
Marines.
all right. Got loads of time.
You people are amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I hope you've enjoyed the Liam and Joe AoS discussion. In short, if we summarise the actual AoS portion of the show, I would love to see an AoS game that gets a similar amount of love and attention as Space Marine 2. I'd be mad for it. I really, really, really would look forward to that. I, however, don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And I would argue, actually, from a business standpoint, it probably doesn't make sense for it to happen either. Makes me sad. I'd like to see one. But I think at this stage, AoS, I think, is currently still growing at the moment. If it continues to grow, maybe we'll see one in the future. But when you consider what Joe said, that supposedly Space Marine 1 was a bit of a flop, I think we might have to accept that that comes first, and then maybe a really, really good one in the future comes. I think it is harder to recreate something like Space Marine in the AoS universe, in the AoS world. It's a little bit more difficult to have this absolutely monstrous, badass, like superhuman with a chainsword. I don't think Stormcast, quite honestly, in my personal opinion, stand up to Space Marines, if I'm being brutally honest. And I like Stormcast quite a lot. But that's what I think.
Yeah, I think I saw someone say earlier that like they need to grow. Like, they need to grow Age of Sigmar in a way where it's more socially relevant.
Yeah.
Because Old World was socially relevant, because the people that are older now that aren't in the hobby, when they knew Warhammer, it was Space Marines and people on horses. But like they were like a few kind of standard knights and things and stuff. Whereas Stormcast is still kind of new. So we kind of need to get them more out in the world and recognised. So there's kids out there now, like there's like a Warhammer club at my partner's daughter's school, so she came home with some Stormcast that she painted. And so she's like, what's this kind of thing?
Yeah.
But the people that are going to be buying the games, I don't think enough people know what they are yet.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But like that's where something like the Amazon show or a cartoon series made by Amazon would bring it into the fore a bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And that man says, Liam, buddy, I would hard disagree. I like Stormcast way more than Space Marines, which is perfectly reasonable and valid. Like anyone's opinion that Stormcast are cooler than Space Marines is perfectly reasonable and valid. It is entirely opinion based. It's very, very subjective. It's not objective. I would, however, say that the majority of people out there are sitting the other side of the fence, sir.
Yeah.
I would suggest the majority of people will say Space Marines are cooler than Stormcast. I love Stormcast. I think they're cool as shit. I think since the Sacrosanct change, not Sacrosanct change, since the Sacrosanct, that's the new one? No.
Sad Crasshole, no.
It's the Ruination Chamber. Since the
yeah.
Ruination Chamber stuff has come out, I think they're setting up to have a super cool, like grim, dark narrative, and I'm here for it. I love it. But I genuinely think that the majority of people out there would side on the other side of that fence. I'd say that Space Marines are cooler than Stormcast.
I'd say personally, I think Space Marines are cooler. I never stop thinking about when I see Space Marines, what can I do with that? What can I convey? What can I what chapter can I do? I'm like, I want to do Minotaurs. I want to do White Scars. I want to do Salamanders. I want to do Space Marines all the time. I don't kind of have that close. I don't even have anything close with that with Stormcast. I'm like, Stormcast are cool.
I love them. I think they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're nice models. At some point, I might get around to doing some Stormcast that are like bronze with red. But it's like, I'm just doing Minotaurs then.
I'm a fantasy setting person. I prefer fantasy setting over sci-fi setting. That's a fact. I would still sit on the side that I think Space Marines are cooler than Stormcast.
Yeah.
But then I would also suggest that I think that Lumineth Realm Lords are cooler than Space Marines in my mind, but that's because I'm more of an elf fan. But that, that's by the by. I've never really had my own Space Marine army that I've built and painted. I might do one. Part of that's because Space Marine hype at the moment. I feel like this is a game, I said this to Joe and Josh yesterday, I feel like this is a game I could play more often and really enjoy it as a video game.
Wow.
I think it would be super nice if AoS had something similar that you can just pick up at home. You don't need to set up a whole table.
Yeah.
You don't need to have friends over. You sit up at home, turn the computer on, off you go, play. I think it'd be nice for it to have that. I just don't think we're going to get it anytime soon. I think that Games Workshop, if I'm honest, doesn't have anything that's as big as Space Marines that could sell a game like this to the general public, to be fair. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Thank you so much for watching. We are back tonight at 19:30 with more actual AoS. Joe will have to put his Space Marines down. Brom is going to be bringing the Sons of Behemat.
Yeah.
We've got some more big ones now. We actually own 4 big ones now, including King
big
Brom.
one.
And he is going to be playing against Joe and his Soulblight Gravelords.
Yeah.
So look out for that 7:30. Tomorrow at 7:30, we're back again with the Warhammer show. Thursday, we've got a normal Liam Joe show where I might continue my company heroes, and Joe will probably continue making Space Marines as well because Space Marine hype. And then in the evening, it's me versus Joe. I don't have myself down to play an army right now, and I don't think I've got you down to play an army. Maybe we do Space Marine 2 on the tabletop.
Yeah.
Tyranids versus Space Marines.
Tyranids versus Ultramarines.
I'll speak to Brom, see if he lets me touch his Ultramarines.
Do it anyway.
Yeah.
He's not, he can't,
Show him how to run them.
he's not going to take him away with him tonight, is he?
So look out for that one. And then Friday at 8:30, we've got 40 After Dark. 40K After Dark. It's another full week of content. Thank you so much for your support. Big shout out to John McCardle, who made it look a lot less shit as a stream with his 40 gifted. You're a legend. Thank you so much for watching. I need to get my thing up. That's what she said. There it is. Boop, boop. There we go. We have to press the... Well, hang on. What do I need? That one? Cool. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, have a wonderful time.